Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm sorry about the delay getting this started here, guys. It was a rough one setting this up.
Wouldn't have a stream without technical difficulties.
Yeah. Discord changed some stuff. That's what we used to get these streams going, and they changed some stuff on me, and now I had to reset up a bunch of things in OBS in order to be able to have everything looking right and not look janky. So sorry about taking forever getting this going, but we're here now. Everything's working, I'm hoping. So yeah, welcome back. I'm sorry it's been a little bit since we've done a critique, but we're good to go now, and we're getting back into things. Joining us this episode is Bear, or Bear Photo Buffalo. Bear,
Yay!
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Bear is a photographer from Buffalo, New York. Imagine that. From Buffalo. Who would have guessed? I just thought you liked bears and buffaloes. You know?
They are both great animals.
So yeah,
Is
let's
that a
jump
bear on your mug?
Oh yeah.
on
All
brand.
bears all day, baby.
Hell yeah.
On brand. Yeah, so guys, let me know in chat if anything weird is happening over the course of this stream. I tried to get everything set up and refunctional as we've been going here, but you know, you know what? It's the vocabulary now. It's part of it.
It's what I call quarantine brain.
All right, so Bear, how about we learn a little bit about you? So first, let's just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a photographer from Buffalo, New York.
Oh shit.
Whoa,
Well,
lay it on us, Bear.
Oh my god.
I've been a photographer for 15 or 16 years now. I got into cosplay in 2016 from SM Zelda Rules. Sarah, she was my very first cosplay shoot. Because I had told her that I wanted to get back into photography because I kind of put it down for a year or two. So she asked me if I wanted to shoot one of her cosplays, and I went, and ever since then it's been love. Just like my love for that headband.
Yeah. Kengar came in hot with the Fighting Dreamers thing. I think I need to raise the price on that again. People just clearly. For those of you who don't know, I've channel points. 2,000 channel points gets me to wear this stupid headband for 15 minutes. So here we are. But I think inflation's about to kick in. You know. So Bear, that kind of gave you us our look into how you got into cosplay photography, but I know you've been shooting photography for a fair amount before you got into cosplay photography. What were you shooting there, and kind of what got you into shooting photography just to begin with?
My dad was a photographer growing up. So I grew up basically in a dark room at our house. My dad built.
He locked me in a room, and it was dark, and he gave me a camera, and that was it. That's how it. Wait.
I had the red light, so for developing. But yeah, so I grew up in a dark room. Started on film. I had it was a Nikon S something. It was my first film camera that I learned on. And I started out doing landscapes and portrait stuff. For a long time, I was into the urban exploring. I like to take pictures of abandoned buildings, stuff like that. And then I just I put it down for a year or two, because I kind of gave into the societal standard of don't put too much into photography because you'll never make anything of it. Go to college and get a real job. So I kind of fell for that for a year or two, and then like I said, Sarah got me back into it, and from that first cosplay shoot, I was hooked, and I was back in.
Awesome. Since you mentioned urbex, have you made any attempts to combine that with cosplay photography?
Yeah. So the one picture of Poison that came up in her overhaul, that was shot at the old Buffalo Central Terminal, which is our old abandoned train station.
Nice.
They Con Mom and them wanted somewhere to shoot, and I told them I knew somewhere, but like it's kind of off limits, and it's like it's an abandoned train station, but I still know how to get into it from exploring from way back in the day. So we went there, and it's not in a great neighborhood. So we had my buddy Jim, who's a very big, scary looking, like Samoan looking dude. He came and like stood outside as like our security while we went inside. That photo right there, and we shot inside the old Central Terminal. But I would love to do more of it. I mean, the only downside is most of the time you're not supposed to be there, so I always worry about like bringing a cosplayer in and then the cops come and everything. So if I do decide to do it again, I'm probably gonna it's probably gonna be a process where I try to go through proper channels and get permission to be there.
Yeah, I've managed to do it once for cosplay photography at least, and some of my favorite photos I've taken. They're just really cool shooting it. It was an old burned out building I was shooting in. Sadly, all the urbex places that I know how to get into are either just like way too sketchy to do in cosplay or have been demolished. So, so I don't have any good places that I'd want to go for that. But you can get some awesome cosplay photos in urbex environments.
Yeah, luckily this place that we shot, because Central Terminal, it's a huge train terminal.
Yeah.
So me and my friends used to actually go into the terminal, which you have to climb over some stuff and duck under some walls and stuff. But I still remember how to get in. But that area we shot in, you can just walk right into. It's one of the old like pull-off terminals. So if you walk around back, they still have the giant metal doors that used to open out to the trains, and you can literally just walk right into it. And all the windows are broken, so you get beautiful natural light in there during the day.
Yeah. I forgot about one urbex place that I went, mostly because like I was early enough in my like cosplay photography career that I kind of don't like any of the like photos I took there anymore. Which is this old burned down church in Gary, Indiana. I'm certain a lot of you have seen pictures of it in cosplay stuff. Specifically, if you've seen Melinda Chan and X Shadow's Final Fantasy VII set, where Zack and Aerith in that church. That set was from that church. Sadly, the ceiling has collapsed, and
no, that location's so pretty.
It's way riskier to go into now, and also it's not as pretty anymore. So
I'm sad.
Yeah, so unfortunately it is not quite as good, but that's like one of those like regrets I have. I'm like, oh man, I wish I was a better photographer the time that I went there, because like I just have grown so much since I shot those photos. Yeah, Maho Maddie, I believe, is posting a link to those photos in chat. Yeah, from Joseph Chilin. Those shots are awesome. Sorry, kind of derailed that there. So Bear, I've watched your photography grow incredibly quickly during the time that I've known you. Has it been a conscious effort that you've put into like, I'm going to improve? And if so, has there been like specific channels you've been going through to try and do that improvement? Or has it just been a natural byproduct of just shooting more and more?
A little bit of both. I can actually pinpoint when my photography changed, because for a while, I missed doing things for myself, like my own project, and I kind of fell into a bit of a rut where I was like, yeah, I'm into cosplay photography and this is fine and whatever, but I miss doing my own thing. And I attended one of Renee Robbins' workshops in Newfoundland last year.
Oh wow.
Just kind of because I always wanted to, and I had been talking to her online a lot, but we weren't like IRL friends or anything. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and learn some stuff from her and Curtis Jones, and I went out there. And as soon as I stepped off the plane, first of all, St. John's is gorgeous. Newfoundland in general is just gorgeous. But during that workshop, they brought in some models. Some of the pictures that are floating by. Like,
some of those pictures now make more sense to me. I'm like, oh
yeah.
yeah.
I was like, that is not in upstate New York. Let me fucking tell you.
Yeah. So I remember we were standing on top of. It's this area. It's basically like a huge hill and a big rock, and we were shooting the one with the girl in the dress where she's kind of standing in all of the trees.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I was shooting there, and I mean, just being around other creative people like that and learning from somebody who I had admired and looked up to for so long. And you guys know how I am. That night, I went back to the hotel and started editing. But being in that environment and actually shooting for myself and doing something that wasn't like I didn't feel like I was being paid to do.
Mm-hmm.
Something just kind of flipped in my brain, and I fell in love all over again, and like the creative juices just started flowing again. And so I came back. I started getting a little bit more into composite photography because everything I know I learned from Renee. But having that kind of that push and that tutelage from her and Curtis, and being somewhere other than Buffalo or like a con center, where I could really just kind of let my creativity flow.
You mean con centers aren't just the hot spot for creative outlets?
I think that's ideal, but whatever.
Con centers are the ideal photography environments. They're the peak, the pinnacle.
I mean, I know most people should thrive fighting over locations with 100 other photographers and, people everywhere. But no, but it ignited something, and ever since then, I've kind of really just been making a push to fine tune my photography and put my passion back into it instead of looking at it as like, okay, yeah, I'm a decent photographer and I'm getting paid to do this. The passion came back, so I'm doing it for me again. And I mean, yeah, shooting a lot more. So I've been making an effort to go to more cons and kind of go all over the country a little bit more. I was supposed to go out west for Fanime.
I don't want to talk about it
and all that. So that was going to be my debut out west, and getting my name out there and shooting with some awesome people out there. But obviously that's not happening. So maybe next year. But that, and like I've put myself out there more, and a lot of you who have shot with me and hung out with me know I don't talk a lot. I kind of just blend in. But I've been trying to make an effort to make more friends, and like I met you guys. And you guys have been a big inspiration, and like you guys push me to kind of better myself. So it's it's all of that.
See you in Animal Crossing.
Well, thank you. So on a bit of a less deep question, what's one piece of gear that you can't live without?
Aside from the camera?
Yeah. Who needs that?
Yeah, I feel like that's a
lens
little...
only.
Honestly, it would be probably the 70-200 2.8. That's my bread and butter lens. I love that lens so much.
High five.
But recently at Katsu, I shot with an 85mm prime art lens, and I fell in love with that lens. So I think I'm going to try to pick that up.
It's hard to justify having both the 70-200 2.8 and an 85. Like trust me, I'm right there with you. I want both, but like it's just hard because you've got that overlap, and then you just start going like, these are both heavy lenses. How much do I really need to be hauling both these around. So yeah, I feel you there.
And I can't justify having 85 and 50 either. Like, it's not different enough.
Yeah.
No, I love the 85 bokeh.
Sarah can't justify bringing anything other than a single lens.
Dude, I'm fucking lazy. Every time I like rent one and then I have to change it out. Oh god, it's just wasting 30 seconds of my day.
I still suffer from that like too much gear problem. So when I'm at a con and I'm packing my bag, I'm like, I need my 50, my 24 to 70, my 70 to 200. I have a 90 millimeter macro just in case they want sick detail shots. And like I have a bag full of lenses. Yeah, and then I end up using one like the whole con.
Y'all.
Dude, I bring my 16 to 35 to every con that I go to. I've maybe
ever shot with it?
Yeah, I shot with it once at Katsu like 3 years ago. Yeah, like it's just like one of those things where it's just like I probably shouldn't bring it along, but it's just like that. But the second that I don't, I'm gonna want it.
You don't need a fucking 16 to 35.
So Bear, what's one cosplay that you've always wanted to shoot but haven't gotten the chance to yet?
Anything Lord of the Rings. I haven't done any Lord of the Rings cosplays, and those of you that know me know I'm obsessed with Lord of the Rings. I would love to do like a Witch King cosplay.
Oh my god.
And I mean, like me and my wife have plans to go to New Zealand whenever we can travel again.
Amazing.
So she wants to do. Ellie wants to do a femme Thorin Oakenshield from The Hobbit. She wants to do like a femme version of that. So she's going to try to get that done before we go to New Zealand, so we can actually shoot it in New Zealand.
That'd be amazing.
All the time in the world now, so.
Yep. Got that time to craft right now.
Motivation though? What's that? Just
what is that? This motivation you speak of?
I have none. It's fine.
I do not.
Yeah, me and Ellie are both unfortunately considered essential, so we're both still working full time.
That's a blessing and a curse. It's we thank you for it though.
Honestly, you're out there saving lives.
So, what's one piece of photography advice that you could wish you could go back in time and tell younger you?
Don't put an age on success. When I was younger, and I think when I hit like 27, I was like, what's the point in doing this? I'm almost 30 and I have no name for myself, and my pictures are just like, they're just pictures. Like, I'm not that great, so what's even the point in doing this anymore? And then, I mean, same thing, like after St. John's and after I started putting it into it, I realized that success doesn't need an age. Like, there's no limit on it. There's no, there's no set saying like, by this time you should be an established photographer. And something just kind of clicked in my head. And if I could go back and like strangle myself and tell myself to stop focusing on where I'm at in my photography career versus how old I am, I think I wouldn't have quit for like a year or two, and I would have maybe put a little bit more into it at a younger age.
Yeah, no, that's totally valid.
Really solid piece of advice that I actually have on the stream, so that's good.
So Bear, continuing the last couple questions here. Who are some photographers or artists that have been inspiring you, either inside of cosplay or outside of the community?
Well, number one is, like I said, it's Renee Robin. I found her back in 2012, 13. I think I saw it was
Robin on Instagram.
Yes. That was when I saw her first, her first composite that she had done. And as soon as I saw it, something in my brain was like, "Excuse me, what? What is this that I'm looking at?"
Oh wow.
And like from then, like that's how I got into composite photography. Was like, okay, I want to be able to take, 6 different pictures and make one really cool epic fantasy picture. And I want these, these fantasies that I have in my head. I want to be able to create them out of essentially pictures of nothing. And she's kind of helped me through a lot of hard times growing up, because I suffer from bipolar and depression and all that, and I'm very open about it, and I think people should be, because it's nothing to be ashamed of. But as soon as I saw her work, and she was posting consistently, when I would get like super depressed, or I would have those tendencies of, why should I carry on anymore? Something inside me was like, I have to see what she posts next. Like, I want to see what she's going to make next. And she would, produce these beautiful images, and then that would just kind of motivate me. And I'm like, I want to learn how to do that. So that would kind of give me a drive and a purpose, and it got me back into photography. And she's become a very dear friend of mine. Since that workshop, we've talked a lot. She's helped me out a lot.
Awesome.
I'm hoping to go. I'm hoping to go back out there for another one of their workshops. It might even be the same workshop, but I just want to go hang out and take pictures with her and Curtis. And then Banff. I want to go to Banff, and I know she said she might meet me there and take some pictures, so that would be cool. But her, and then Curtis Jones, who's he's like a wildlife photographer, and a landscape photographer and a portrait photographer. He does amazing work. He takes a lot of pictures of puffins and penguins, and those are always nice to look at. And then recently, I've been really into TJ Drysdale. His work has been super inspiring and like mind blowing. So those are the 3 photographers I really look up to right now.
Awesome.
Renee, I will always look up to. She'll always be very dear to me, and she'll always be a constant inspiring factor in my life.
Awesome.
Candy!
And the final question, which I already know the answer to at this point, is what media have you been enjoying lately?
Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing all the time.
There is only Animal Crossing.
There is
nothing
no
else.
media, only Animal Crossing.
There's only fishing and weeding and fucking catching bugs and paying off a loan. It's fine.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean it's fine, because like my job, like I go out, I set up these COVID testing sites. Some of them, like now they're doing like the pop-up sites, and they look like little military bases. And I'm sitting there and I'm setting up these sites and getting this testing equipment set, and I'm like thinking, like, what is life right now? Like this seems like the start of a bad movie. So coming home and having that like normalcy of like going to my island and fishing and making furniture and hanging out with friends, like that's a normalcy I need in my life right now. So that's been getting me through the days.
I was gonna say that like Animal Crossing has oddly enough created that like normalcy for me as well, because it was hard for me to create a routine at home. And I shouldn't be complaining because you have to go on site and go outside, but like when your whole like day is disrupted and you're forced to do something that is not normal, it's nice that Nintendo just coincidentally released this game that has given a lot of us like routine in our day, which is dumb. Like literally the first thing I do is wake up, press snooze like 500 times, make coffee, and go on my goddamn fucking island and catch a bug.
So what are you guys' turnip prices right now?
Garbage.
Yeah, I think mine were 120, no, 131 before we got on.
31?
Mine were 135.
Wait, Andrew, that's you playing?
What?
I thought that was Stephanie playing.
Oh, we're both playing.
Why don't you ever come over?
Because I don't play that much. I actually said this in chat, which is to say I love how much people love Animal Crossing. It's not particularly a game for me. I wouldn't have bought it.
Whatever, I'm not offended.
Yeah, no. Like, it's a game I wouldn't have bought, but since my wife bought it, I'm just kind of like messing around here and there, having fun on her island, doing stupid stuff, and yeah. So I don't play.
Are you running through her flowers?
Yes, that's me, just destroying all of her flowers.
Ethan.
No, I try not
Well,
to.
you should come over.
Listen, I was just excited when my Able sisters had the shirt with the camera, and I bought them, and I was like, Sarah and Andrew need these, and then I bought them, and both of you were online, and I was like, take these, we need them.
That's funny.
What? You went to Bear's Island, but not mine?
Bear is the only island I've been to.
I'm fucking offended. I'm gonna play right now. Fuck this stream.
I was gonna say though, Bear, it's also funny because I've had 3 different people send me that camera shirt now. I'm like, I'm just like, I love that everyone thinks of me about this. It's pure.
Wait. Here's the important question: was I the first?
No, you were not.
Damn.
However, you got it for me in a different color since there's the blue and the black. So you got.
Oh, see, my shop had black and white, so I got
really?
the white for Sarah and the black for you. Yeah.
Ooh,
no, mine's blue.
Yours is. I bought you a white one.
Definitely light blue.
Well, maybe there's some stuff up for debate.
Oh my god, is this the stupid dress debate? Just kidding.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Bear, for telling us all that jazz about yourself. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like I got a bunch of random stuff to say before we jump into the critique.
Cool, I'm gonna go catch bugs.
Oh my god. Thanks, Sarah.
I'm gonna go.
So, okay, so I've been doing some debating in terms of the critique streams moving forward. We're not going to quote unquote stop doing critiques, but and I want your guys' opinion on it. So chat, let me know more on that, on ways to communicate with me in just a second too. But we're kind of thinking about it, and we're like, well, are people still going to be able to submit critiques in like a month? Like, I was just kind of considering, like, are the photo submissions going to drop off, like, as people can not take photos? Well, not to say that they can't, but significantly less people are going to be able to shoot photos, and it's going to be way more difficult. So I've been contemplating putting the critiques on a bit of a hiatus. I think we're going to probably do like one more critique episode, and then I think I'm going to put the critiques on hiatus. I have some ideas for other streams for us to do. I'd been contemplating doing one where we do live edits. So kind of like an edit competition where we have a single photo and like a set period of time. And
I don't need people to know how ratchet I am.
So that's one idea. Other idea is to maybe do a bit more of a casual critique style where submissions are live. And it's a little less formal of a setup. I'm playing around with some ideas for things, but if you guys have ideas and or if you think that we should continue doing critiques. Also the 3 photographers edit the same photo. Also, I would give it out for chat, so chat could edit along with us. So I think that'd be fun. All of this said, we're not gonna be stopping doing critiques, but you know, just given the climate of the world with less people submitting, I think that we might switch over like this specific block of scheduling from doing that, and we'd still do like the Quastag questions episodes, but maybe just not do the critiques. I don't know. I'm still working it out. I'm just letting you guys know that there might be some shifts there. On that note, I'm also working on setting up a Discord. for the stream and just kind of like photography and cosplay in general. I know there's probably a million Discords everyone is in at this moment, so I get it if not, you're not interested. It's not open yet. I'm still setting stuff up for it, but I'm looking to have that live sometimes next week. I'll let you guys know on stream as soon as I have it up. And when I do, you can feel free to let me know ideas there. But all of this is to say that things might be changing for the very near future in terms of what we're streaming, but we're going to stay here. I want to try and make this as much of a continued community as I possibly can. So whatever ideas you have, anything that you think would be cool for us to do on stream, let me know. I want to know. And yeah, I'll let you guys know as soon as I get that Discord up. So yeah, that's a lot of things in the works. We'll see how it all pans out. As of right now, if you'd like to see any specific guests to have on, because albeit we might not be doing critiques, we will still be doing some sort of thing that we're going to need guests to be on. If you'd like to submit a guest for us to have on, I've pasted a link to a form in chat. If it goes, come on, press the button. There we go. So yeah, feel free to fill that form out to let us know about someone you'd like to have on. Okay. We're getting through all of it. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. So if you enjoy what we're doing here, please consider subscribing or donating. It's by no means expected. I understand right now the world is in a weird place, and financially a lot of people do not have a lot of flexibility. So totally get it if you guys don't have the means. That's 100% understood. However, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which gives you 1 free sub per month to give whichever streamer that you would like. And if you're not doing that and you have Amazon Prime, please just set it up. It's a little bit of a pain to connect your Amazon and Twitch, but just do it. It's free money that Amazon's giving to you to give to streamers, so please just do it. And if you don't use it here, please use it somewhere. I'd love it if you did use it here, though. We got some sweet emotes. You'll love them. You got me with the hearts. You got Sarah cuddling a doggo. They're great.
And also me reading Boys Love.
Yes.
It's great.
Hahex, thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub. Excellent example showing people how it's done. Thank you so much, Hahex. Yeah, and like I said, if you don't have any like ability to do that right now, totally get it. But all I ask is maybe you'd share the stream with someone that you think might enjoy it, that you maybe would want to submit or something of that ilk. Okay, final things before we transition into this critique here. I'm sorry, I've been talking forever. I will be giving you guys all the link to the photos on Flickr, so you can see those as we are going, so you can critique along with us and not have to judge them based on like what you're seeing on screen. You can actually look at the full res photos. There's a link in chat.
Also, like really not accurate when it comes to color when you're looking at it.
Yeah. There's just so many like different things it needs to go through. Like there's just so many different layers. It's better just to look at the actual photo. If you can. I'll be trying to repaste a link to every photo as we go. Sometimes I forget, but for the most part, I'm pretty good. Lastly, yeah, please critique along with us. We love it when you guys do that. It makes things a lot more fun. And then finally, keep in mind that, all of us are amateur photographers. We've put a lot of time into it, but like our word isn't law. We aren't like, incredibly well-known photographers that have like a ton of clout or whatever the fuck.
We're hobbyists. That's
yeah.
all. So
take what we're saying with a grain of salt. If you have a different opinion than us, that is totally fine and a-okay. So yeah. Let's do this whole critique thing, guys. Let me adjust everything now that we're done with that. I haven't opened up any of the photos yet. Normally I'm better than this and have everything set up, but since I had to do so many changes in OBS right before the stream, I'm like totally behind with where I have things set up. So let me load everything up before we jump into photos here. And we'll click there. And okay, so this first photo is going to be from, oh man, hold on. Sorry, got a weird things going on here. Do. There we go.
There's like ads now. It's so.
There's ads now on Flickr?
Oh, I'm not logged in. I was like, why am I seeing these ads? Because I couldn't even photo.
Let's do this here. So we got this photo from Mom Photography. Let me grab the link for you guys. And Sarah, whenever you're ready, do you want to start us off?
Yes, I'm ready. Actually, my first comment about this photo is it's a little it's like I don't feel like it's anything anyone would like, I don't know, comment on, but it's my favorite thing about the photo, and it's the cosplayer with the, I know this is from Boku no Hero, I just don't know the character's name.
Yeah.
That's Hawks.
What is it?
Hawks.
Hawks? Okay, so the Hawks cosplayer, I love their hands. Their hands, the way that the tension in them and the way that they're just laid out and like grasping the other cosplayer, it feels so real. Like I feel like I feel like Podmom is being a voyeur in this situation, which sounds kind of weird, but I think to able to capture that kind of moment is very without coming off as like extremely staged. So I think the emotion that the Hawks cosplayer is portraying is really, I love their facial expression, and that catchlight in their eyes is ridiculous. And the hands are just great. And I love the moody light. Like it feels very dark, and I don't, like I said, I don't know who Hawks is, and I definitely don't know who this rep is. But their relationship, going to assume it's possessive. Like I'm not really sure, but that's kind of like what I'm getting. But yeah, the raw emotion from this is really nice. I also think the editing is really nice, clean. I think in this case, the clean editing is really appropriate here. I think anything overdone would have killed the mood of this photo and just would have overpowered it. The one thing I really, this is so nitpicky, but the one thing I think is a little weak in the image actually is the alcohol set up on the counter. I think because it's so far away from the models, it's kind of just like, it makes me think it was just kind of put there as like, oh, we should add this prop here to get across that they're at a bar. So I think it's a little too separated from the subject, so it feels kind of added on. And then for some reason, it was also like the first thing I looked at, even though the Hawks cosplayer's gaze is so strong.
I think what gets me about it, and let me full screen it here so that because it's covered by that tag for you guys, is that the liquor bottles and the cup are like exactly the same size. Like,
yeah, they're the same height.
Yeah,
it's
it feels like they're exactly the same and set next to each other. It feels like almost too perfect. Like, yeah. And like to me,
everything else seems unintentional. Like I said, it seems like a moment that
yeah.
Captured, but the only thing that feels really super set up are the props. And honestly, like I feel like Kamam could have like photoshopped them out like really easily, and they wouldn't be missed.
Yeah. I do like them in this shot. I do too. I agree with you. They do feel a little set up.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I love this photo. I mean, the only thing really I like that bit of like either like flare or whatever the bokeh is like on his back right near her finger. That distracts me a little bit.
That drives me nuts. And it's like one of those things where I'm like, I feel like I shouldn't be that nitpicky, but oh boy, that bothers me.
And that's a very nitpicky thing, but that bothers me. And I mean, for some reason, like I wish his back wasn't square to the camera. If they would have like just tilted a little bit more at an angle, I feel like I would have liked it better, but that's my personal preference.
Yeah. I I totally agree with you on those points. While we're being nitpicky, because I feel like we jumped right into the nitpicks, the outlet on the back wall, like just I like I don't know why my brain just looks at these things, but it does. And I just like want it removed, and it's like a super easy removal, and I'm like, please just remove it. Just remove it, please. I'll zoom in for you guys so you know what I'm talking about. But overall though, I really, really love the mood of this image. That and like the lighting is just on point. Like,
Yeah, that did a great job with it. And I mean, Poison is always great to work with. They always convey like such emotion in their face when you're taking pictures of them. So shooting with them is always a dream because they just know how to put it on when the camera comes out.
There's like some little lighting points that I really love on this photo too. Like the lighting on her hand that's on the back of his head. Like, I just really love how that's being lit right there. Just that like highlight that's hitting the side of their hand. Just really lovely. So the question I have for you guys here is, how do you feel about the black bars being included in the photo? So it's not quite a 16:9 crop. It's like super duper close enough that I'm just going to call it a 16:9. But then you've got kind of these black bars on top to make it like a closer to a traditional camera crop. Do you guys like that, or do you wish they were not there?
My opinion is that if you're going to apply that kind of effect, you need to either do it full throttle or don't do it. Because I think it's a little, that's just my personal opinion, because I feel like they were going for that, like the 16:9 like cinematic crop that we see in theaters. And this is a very cinematic shot, so I think it would work in a 16:9. But I think because it's not a 16:9, I kind of like, my initial thought was like, why are those black?
The photo inside of this, like inside the black bars, is a 16:9. It isn't, but it is so like it's maybe like 1% off from being a 16:9. That's why I'm like,
well, like the ratio, but like the height of those black bars a lot taller than what they are here. I feel like.
Yeah, so it's like, I think the biggest thing is it's like 16:9, but in like a 16:10 crop. So like the black bars are not that high.
Like if they had like basically just crop the photo, like get rid of the black bars and then overlay the black bars on the frame of the photo, it'd be fine. But because it's not reading as a 16:9 in its entirety, I don't totally like it.
Yeah, personally,
but it's not enough for me to be like turned off by it.
Go ahead, Bear.
Yeah, I like them in the right instance. Like this, like Sarah said, this is a very cinematic shot, so it looks like a movie still. Like it looks like something I would see on a theater screen. So like I like it. I've done it I think maybe 3 times in my career. Like done like the cinematic like black bars, and I think I just posted one of Joby, the one composite I made. But it has to like stand out to me. I have to look at the picture and be like, I wish there were black bars. Like I wish this looked like a cinema still. Mm. And I'll put the black bars on it and go, yep, that's it. Or I'll go, nah, it doesn't work. But I've only ever had that feeling like 3 times.
I personally, like, I'm aware this is my personal preference here. I can't stand black bars in photos. I feel like just crop it. There's no need. I've never understood it. Like the whole reason.
That's fair. I mean, it's usually typically with moving.
Yeah. The whole reason why black bars show up is because your format for movies is your screen isn't as wide as the way they filmed it. It has nothing to in my mind, it has nothing to do with the fact that it's quote unquote cinematic, and it just is everything to do with that you don't have the correct display to display it. And including the black bars in the media has just always felt super weird to me. Once again, entitled to a different opinion than that, but that's personally how I've always felt about it. You guys got any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
Nope.
I was like, I don't know what that noise was, but when it came through, but it sounded like, ooh. I will take that as a no. Okay.
Speak slowly.
Cool. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, so this next one is from HEX Photography. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know how to pronounce underscores in words, so we're just going to go with that. Bear, do you want to start us off on this image?
Yeah. So this one, I mean, it's the concept in this shot is beautiful. I love what they were going for. I think the skin retouching is very nice. It's very flattering. My thing with because like I can tell this is very like there's a lot of composite work here. You've got a giant tree on the left, and then sun rays that are coming from seemingly nowhere, like out of the tree. And then you've got rain coming from the other direction. And I think those intersecting lines are distracting. And then it's little things like it's been drilled into my head from Renee to pay attention to real life for when you're doing composites. So if the rain is coming from the right, the umbrella should be pointed towards the right. So right now, like this, it looks like they're blocking the sun and then they're getting wet from the rain. And if that's what you were going for, then that's fine. But when you're doing composite work, you have to pay attention to every little detail of what you're doing and pay attention to how it would be in real life.
Yes.
And sometimes you need to walk away for 5 minutes because when you're doing composite work, like the one picture of Joby that I did, that one took me about 6 hours. And there comes a point where everything starts to blend in your eyes and you start to miss things, or you get to a point where you're like, okay, I just want this to be done. It's okay to walk away for 5 minutes or an hour or even a day so that you can come back and notice little things. And I mean, like I said, like it's a beautiful picture. The concept is amazing. It's just little things that with composite work you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So like with the light rays, if you look in the back, the sky is gray. The sky is very overcast and blue.
Yep.
Those light rays would not be orange. You know, they would be casted. They wouldn't be that sharp because if it's an overcast day, you're just going to get soft light everywhere. Or they would be a little blurry. So if you would have just kind of thrown like a Gaussian blur on these light rays and just kind of blurred them a little bit, it would have been a slightly more believable. And then, I mean, nitpicky things like the stick that's going over.
I was gonna bring up the stick.
Yeah, gotta bring up the stick.
I would have got rid of the stick.
Bothering me.
But yeah, like I said, like it's a beautiful photo and concept. It's just take your time with composites. Pay attention to every little detail and make sure everything makes sense. Like look at it and sit there and stare at it and look at it and say, if this was real life, would this look like this?
Yes.
So little things like that.
It's
honestly,
funny.
When I first saw the photo, I actually didn't notice the rain right away.
Also
so I thought
agree with that. Sorry. Continue, Sarah.
So I thought that like kind of like the whole mood of the photo was just kind of like, oh, they were captured in the rain and now there's like this ray of sun, and that's because like Kagume's face is kind of like, oh yay, like the rain stopped. Like that's kind of like what it's reading to me as. So I don't even think the rain droplets are necessary.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Is I think you could just like I didn't even like even now I don't really read it as rain. Like there's like so much in the image that just doesn't read as rain to me. Like the texture doesn't quite feel like rain. Like nothing looks wet in the image. Like the cosplayers aren't really wet at all. The background sky doesn't look like a rainy sky. So like just it, like the texture, just like my brain can't compute. It's like, no, that's not rain. Like I almost feel like it's more sun rays. Like that's what my brain went to before rain.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the multiple directions of everything. It messes with my brain, and my eyes don't know where to look because there's things coming in from every direction.
Totally. Sorry, I had to hiccup. Holding it in. I think also like just purely in terms of lighting, I think like the sunny glow that works for me, but I would just like the kind of like harder rays that are coming in from that feel a little off to me. I think if you just stuck it as a glow instead of adding those like harder lines onto it, it would work better. Let me check if I had any other thing. I also
it's kind of like a small thing, and I know this is kind of like hard to do when there's like a lot of dead, like a very large volume of leaves on the ground. But you kind of lose their feet. So either I would have like tried to brush them out of the way, or at least find something for the cosplayers to stand on so they're elevated off of the ground so their feet aren't missing. I mean, Kagome literally doesn't have any feet. Me, at least. Like, first glance, I mean, I can see part of the shoe. Again, that's like a tiny thing, but
yeah, I mean, I have nothing else but like little nitpicky things because like my compositor brain kicks in.
Huh.
Well, I don't have a compositor brain, so yours is fully appreciated.
So the crazy part is, Hahek says in chat it was weird time because it was raining and the stuff was coming out but the rain didn't really capture, which that's so interesting because yeah, I would not have guessed it was raining in this shot at all. That's so interesting to know. That's that's so weird. I just wouldn't have ever guessed that. That's so funny. Another thing, just in terms of like pure composition, I think this image would just be a little better if you cropped it in a bit. I think there's just a bit too much dead space in the image. Either that, or if you took the opposite approach and went even wider with the image, I think that could work as well. But as it is right now, it feels like it's in this like slight bit of like limbo state where it's like just it's not quite wide enough and it's not quite close enough. I mean, given the fact that you can't really widen it in post, I would actually just personally I'd crop it in just a little bit. You guys got any other words? Do you guys have any other thoughts on this one?
What are words? What are
Even
thoughts? Head empty.
I have no more words on this one.
I do have one other thought on this, and this is maybe if you want to take it the quote unquote extra mile, is some of the cosplay some of the areas on the cosplayers are a little wrinkly. If it were me, I would have digitally ironed them. That's probably going over the top a little bit sometimes, but I know that's how I approach my work a lot of time. Something to consider at least. Yeah, Hahex usually shoot pretty tight, and I told myself beforehand I'd try something wider. Yeah, I think if you're gonna try wide, lean into the wideness. Like really go hard, because like honestly, with digital cameras at this point, with the resolution they have, it's pretty easy to crop in, and you have like a decent amount of like leeway there. So worst comes to worst, you have to crop in, but when you're on location, shoot maybe even just a hair wider than you think you're gonna need. Cool. I think we are ready to move on to the next one. Since that's me, I will grab the link before we move there and paste that in chat and move on to these next God, I can't talk today. I'm so sorry. It's just a mess. This next shot is from O2 Supply. And this
I want to know where this is. What a beautiful gate.
This is at Anime Milwaukee. And
Shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
The lighting in this area is horrible.
I was like, it's probably garbage.
Yeah.
But that gate is so pretty.
Yes. This is no, there's some very pretty spots in this hotel, but you have to bring lights. That's the only way you're gonna make this look good. Otherwise it's no dice. Like, just the lighting in this hotel it's very orange, and you have to bring lights if you want to save it. I've seen enough photos of this area without lights to know that just it's no bueno. Mahomedi Emki is garbage everywhere. That is accurate. It's a very, very hard con to shoot at. I know from experience on that one as my hometown con. So kind of like the first thing I would say on this is, since I know what you had to go through to get good shots at this con, like, kudos. Like, there's a large degree of difficulty shooting it at Anime Milwaukee. It's kind of like playing convention photography on hard mode. So I think, all things considered, you were working with not a lot, so good job at trying to make it work. That said, let me bring up my notes on this. Come on, where are you? I really like the how the gold colors in the background play off of the gold in the, what are we gonna call this? Like a cape? Like is that what you call the back piece? I don't even know.
You call it Final Fantasy.
Yeah. On the Final Fantasy clock hand cape piece. I don't even know.
Square Enix aesthetic.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Ornament. Maybe that's a better word for it. I don't know. Yeah, it's dumb, but it's pretty, so we'll go with it.
He's a fair.
Yeah, so I like how those play off of each other. That said, I think that this shot could be improved pretty easily with some slight tweaks. First off, I just think the shot's a bit too underexposed. I think if you just brightened everything up a little bit, it would help. If anything, brightening up your lights a little bit might help as well. Speaking of lights, I think the biggest areas you could help yourself out with is just softening up that light a little bit. Your key light on the subject just feels a little bit too harsh for what you're trying to go for here. You're getting kind of like those hard shadows on her neck and on her face, and they're just not super flattering. I think if the lighting was a bit softer, like if you shot through an umbrella or a softbox for this, I think it would work. I don't quite think it's a bare bulb. I think it's there's a little bit of softening going on here, but it's not a substantial amount. And I think if you brought the light closer and shot through a softbox, that would help a ton. Secondly, I think you said this was a 2-light setup, and you've got the key light that's coming from like camera right, and then you've got another light that I think is being shot. Like, I think those highlights on the grate are the second light.
I was gonna ask where the second light was.
Yeah, I think that's what's lighting up the gate. Like, if you look on the bottom left corner, like those edges that are fairly bright, I think that's the second light.
Oh yeah.
What I would do with that second light is actually shoot towards her back and give her a rim light. That way you could kind of like etch her out a little bit from the background, because as it is right now in the photo, she gets a little lost in the background. Especially with the grate, like the entire left side of her ornament gets like, it's very hard to tell where it is. And I think if you shot that with a key light or with the rim light back there, that would help. Yeah, it's a pretty O2 Supply hit the link to the softbox. It's a on camera 9" by 9" softbox. That's a pretty tiny softbox and isn't going to get you that much diffusion. I'd recommend going for something bigger, like an umbrella is not very expensive. Just like buy a cheap shoot through umbrella, like buy like a 43". That would be like my first step in terms of like softening up the light.
Honestly, I feel like lifting the shadows and this, like editing it, help alleviate a lot of the issues that we're having with the lighting.
Oh, totally. I'd agree with it. That kind of was like my first comment of it being underexposed. But just kind of like was trying to break down the light and kind of where I thought things could be adjusted to help improve it. Yeah, so final thing that I will say before I shut up and let you guys have some opinions as well, is the pose just feels a little bit twisted up to me. Her feet feel like they're moving a different direction than her hips, and then her head is turned the other way, so like her entire body feels like it's doing like a twist to me, and it just feels like there's a lot of tension there that isn't necessarily adding much to the pose. I think if you could like have it so maybe her feet weren't quite stepping like across her body like that, and then if you had her torso kind of looking more towards where her head was going, I think it would feel a little bit more natural. Okay, I'll shut up for a hot second so you guys can say some stuff.
It's like I almost kind of wish her pose was a little more expressionist, like even a little more extreme.
Yes, I think it needs to be a bit more dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, Edia's look is very intense, and this is like an instance where like I would kind of like, just kind of go balls to the walls with the posing, especially with like the gate background, because it does play off of her calling it the ornament really well. I think it would have been interesting to see her doing really dramatic poses, like especially with the harsh lighting, because I actually don't really mind harsh lighting. I think, like I said, editing it a bit more to give a little character to it would be really nice to lift some of the shadows so there isn't such a harsh line like on her neck, for example. Because I do agree, I think some of the lighting on her face and neck are not great, but I do like the artistic approach of the harsh lighting. I think it works really well for this character and for this outfit especially, and the location. I still can't get over this goddamn gate. So those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
It's weird because like her body's like sort of straight onto the camera, but like not really.
It's hard too because I think just because it's like so much black and the image is so dark that you kind of lose her like body shape a little bit. Is
this like a relatively open area? Like it's easy to load?
No.
It's like a really small gate.
The gate is actually decently sized, but like you don't have a lot of like, so camera right, there's not a ton of space. Like this is kind of like a hallway-ish area. To be clear, I don't have any particular problem with hard light in general. I just think kind of for what this shot was going for, I think a softer light would have helped. Yeah, I think maybe if she had like one like just an easy fix that would have made this pose maybe still work is if she had her right arm up. I think that would have been really cool.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
Yeah, I mean the pose to me, like when I look at it, like I feel like this was taken while she was getting into a more like I want it to be more dramatic.
Yes.
Like it like the pose to me just looks like, okay, she's about to do something more dramatic, and like I'm craving that more dramatic pose from it. And I mean the other thing, like I don't know, the only other thing that I wish I could do something about is like you have her ornament, and then like the gate, you have two very ornamental things, and I think they're losing detail in each other.
Yes.
So like that I don't know, her cape, that looks like a big gorgeous build, and there's a lot of detail in it. And I think it gets lost in the gorgeousness and the detail of the gate.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's hard because like I think it matches the gate very well. I just don't know like how ideally you'd match them up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be a lot of experimentation with light, trying to contrast the two, but not make them bleed into each other. I feel like it would be a lot of experimentation in order to get something that would work with.
Can you open the gate or no?
No.
Can you go behind it?
Yes.
That would have been cool. I think just her interacting with it would have been interesting. And like Bear said, it is a lot of trial and error. You don't want to detract away from the cosplayer, but the fact that it just matches the ornament piece so well is just, I mean, it's that kind of
Yeah. I will say sometimes you can go on the other side of the gate. Sometimes they will have like a motorcycle like vaguely in front of the gate because Harley Davidson or whatever. I don't know, man. Just random shit. I swear to God, like half the time I've been there, they're like, here's a Harley in front of the gate because reasons. I don't know. All right. Any other thoughts on this one?
Damn, y'all just fucking shitting on Anime Milwaukee.
I could shit on Anime Milwaukee for a good while,
So
Sarah.
funny.
It bums me out so much because it's my home con. I want to like it, but it's...
Yeah, but then an epic cosplay shows up like this. Like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also always cold during Anime Milwaukee. Always cold. Like... Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next shot before I rant for a million years on Anime Milwaukee. Okay, so this next shot is from Avid Exposure. Let me grab that link for you guys, and then Sarah, do you want to start us off on this one?
I'm jealous of Mallow because she has my OG grumpy villager from Animal Crossing. I'm so upset right now. I want Apollo so bad.
Mallow's just in the chat trying to derail us so hard.
I'm so jealous. He's like literally he was in my village for the first Animal Crossing, and then was also in a campsite, I guess you call it, for like the mobile game or whatever. Like, I was like, man, if I don't get Apollo fucking tangy. Anyway. Sorry. Photography. Literally. My brain for the past, I don't know how long I've been in quarantine. Months? No. How long has Animal Crossing been out?
It's been like
3
a month.
weeks?
Been like a month.
Okay, well, my past 3 weeks have been nothing but Animal Crossing. Anyway. So first of all, I really love the lighting in this photo. I haven't used the word ethereal in a really long time, I don't think. But I do love the ethereal setting of this photo. I'm wondering, is this at that restaurant in the Gaylord, that like fancy bar?
I do not know.
That's what it kind of reminds me of. I've shot in there once before I got kicked out, and it's what it kind of looks like. I can't tell. Because I really don't want like all of that like, ware on the table, but if it's where I think it is, obviously you can't move it, so I'm not gonna be annoying about that because you can't avoid that. But I love the lighting in here. It feels so dramatic. I feel like the theme so far has been like these shots feel like really cinematic. And this one does too. And I think the color grading is really beautiful. It kind of has like, for a lack of a better term, that kind of like sepia vintage feel, which I really like. And you don't really see that a lot in cosplay photography anymore. Like that was a big thing, 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, I love the lighting. The only thing I'm kind of confused by, like, where the cosplayers are looking, I guess. Like, maybe it's just my lack of knowledge of Sailor Moon's shock. I have not.
No, I feel the same way.
Okay. I mean, usually, like, when you have two people in a shot, it is nice to have looking in different directions, but in this case, I don't quite understand what it is, because I feel like, I don't know. I don't understand what they're looking at. Like, I feel like they both should be, like, looking out the window or something, or I don't know, or at each other. I think also because I know it's a restaurant setting, or like that's what it looks like. I'm kind of like, I don't know what you could be looking at, so that's me.
Yeah, no, that was,
but I love
that was my one thing with it. Like, this is a gorgeous shot, but the direction they're looking is kind of what threw me off. And I mean, personal preference, I want to kick down the highlights just a little bit to bring a little bit more detail back in their face.
I think what I want here is like I want him looking at her. Like, I think that's what I want. Like right now it just feels like a little odd, like hand on the shoulder looking straight out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think if he had the hand on the shoulder but then was like looking down at her, it would feel more endearing.
Great.
Also, I think this shot would work a lot better too as a vertical. As a horizontal, we're just getting like the entire right frame of our side of this image is like white. And I see you guys, a lot of you guys in chat are saying the same thing. It's just so bright, so overexposed.
Yeah, I think if we could read more information through the window, it wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah.
But
and I think as a vertical, if you got just a little bit, like a little slice of the overexposed, that would work. But as it is right now, where it takes up so much of the frame, it's just a bit much. Trying to see if I had anything else on this one in my notes. Nope, that was it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love this shot. I wish, like you said, like I think it would work better as a vertical, and just like the whole right side. Like I feel like I have to like shield my eye from the right side to look at the left side.
Yeah. No, totally.
But I mean, other than that, like it's a gorgeous shot. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Cool. Let's move on to the next photo then. This next one is from MC Lamb. Hopefully doing that one right. Guys, if I'm saying your name wrong, feel free to correct me because I'm probably going to be saying most people's names wrong.
Any of us know how to say our own usernames? Not.
Sorairo-Days and beer photography.
Burfada Buffalo.
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 And then there's Vontography. Let me paste that link for you guys in chat. Bear, do you want to start us off on this one?
I honestly had a hard time picking out anything that I disliked about. Like, I love this shot. It's simple,
yes,
but I mean, to me, like it stands out, and I love the direct eye contact. The colors are gorgeous. Like they work together. Like there's just a mood about this photo, and I think it's kind of conveying what they intended it to me. I mean, I love it. It's I mean, other than maybe fixing up some of the wrinkles in the fabric, which is a nitpicky thing. And then, I mean, that like the hands on the sword kind of confused me a little bit, and that's just the nerdy side of me coming out because me and my wife both know how to actually hold a sword. And
No, I was going to comment on the hands too.
Yeah, same.
I mean, that would be my biggest nitpick with this photo is just kind of the posing of the hands with the sword.
That said, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
I
No.
think worse.
Yeah.
No, like I said, that's very nitpicky,
Yeah.
and that's just me being a nerd. Like,
yeah, but like even there, they could have been holding it way worse.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Some weird shit.
Yeah.
Like hands on the blade, my favorite.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing is when I've seen cosplayers who like are resting the sword on their shoulders, but have like the blade like resting
down
into their shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, what are you doing?
So Allison said that it feels like the flex of the fingers before actually gripping it. So I agree, because that was my first thought, but I think because the cosplayer is so still, I am not convinced that they're in motion. So for me, like that illusion is fully realized. I think even if like literally just like their little, I mean, I don't know what, I think it's a blue cape, but like that turquoise mint colored cape, I just spewed like 5 different colors anyway. Was even if that was just like lifted up a little bit, or even just hair just to like allude to some movement, I think it would be okay. Because I do agree, because that was my first thought. I was like, oh, they're getting ready to like grip her, because you see that in animation all the time, and they always emphasize that too. But I do wish they were, because they are very. I also wish this was a 16:9. That's really my. Again,
I was literally gonna be like, if this was a 16:9, I'd have like nothing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is literally a.
This is it's just like 16:9, like is going to make this shot so much stronger. Like it just has the perfect composition to work for it.
You want to do it, real
quick? You say that like I'm not already doing it.
No, you never fucking know.
Times of there we go.
What's going on?
Just like that composition just makes it feel even stronger to me.
Yeah, it's so nice.
And like the things that you're cropping out are just smoke, so it's not like you're losing any like important information in this shot. So definitely would go with the 16:9 for it. Oops.
Fucking slick.
I have a couple thoughts on this. One, like color grade wise, I think just the green in the background, I would maybe color grade that out to have something like maybe either desaturate that even more or have it match some of the other colors in the image. I just kind of think like it's not like anything huge, but that green just being the only spot that has green feels a little off to me. I think this image could also like use a little bit of dodging and burning. Especially,
it's a little flat.
It's a little flat, and I especially feel that in the eyes. I think that this image would pop a ton with just a light dodge and burn. There is catch lights in the eye. Like if I can zoom in for you guys here, like there is something to accentuate there. Like you can have that pop. It's not like they're not there. It's just they need to be drawn. Like at viewing it zoomed out like we are, you can't really see it. The other super nitpicky thing that I have to say on this image is I don't know what's going on with the added noise in this image. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like all the color noise in this shot is like added in after the fact. That's like absolutely like Photoshop noise and not camera noise. Like if you look at like they didn't have it apply to the cosplayer's like face. like, but yet in the background it's this very heavy multicolor noise. But like you can hear, I don't know if this will show on screen, but I'll see if I can share it for you here. You can see like in the edge of the hair, there's no noise in between the gaps of the hair, but then you hit this background and you see all this noise here. I don't know what the choice for this was. The shot was shot at ISO 100 too, so like,
oh wow,
that noise does, like, unless you shot this so obscenely underexposed, you wouldn't get noise like that. And then get it for like adding it as like an artistic look, but to me that noise just doesn't feel like artistic noise. It's like, this is getting like really weird in terms of like what noise is good noise in shots. But what I would do is I would look up, if you're looking to add noise to your image, look up some like noise profiles for like old film cameras and do that, like find that kind of thing to apply to your image. Because as it is right now, like the noise that's added in Photoshop, like defaultly, just doesn't look very good, especially when it has that much color information to it. Like half the reason why noise looks cool is because it's like just adds like a bit of grunginess, not because it's adding all that like little bit of like cyan and magenta specks to it. So sorry, a little bit of a nitpicky rant there, but it is something that I paid attention to because I'm weird like that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if the smoke in front was added or
They
if all of the
said
smoke was
they said it
done.
was natural, so I
was
will
gonna say,
take them for their
'cause
word.
I was gonna say, because adding noise like that it's an old composite trick to make things blend more.
Yes.
But then like I don't know why you would remove it from the cosplayer.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean that was my first thought, was like I didn't know if the smoke was added and maybe that was a way for them to try to blend the smoke a little bit better. But if it's all natural, then yeah, I don't know.
I mean, my guess is that they probably removed it from the face. They didn't want the face to bring.
Yeah.
Which, because like, I mean, it's hard when cosplay photography is about being like shiny, smooth skin, and shiny, smooth skin doesn't move grain, I guess. But if you're gonna add grain, you gotta add it to the whole image.
Yeah.
You can't just shop it out of places that you don't want it to be. That's just not how.
Absolutely. Overall, though, killer shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
We're just being
absolutely love
annoying
this
at
shot.
point.
Yeah. That's what happens. We compliment it, and then we get into the weeds with all this annoying bullshit.
You won't even see because you're only posting it on Instagram.
Yeah, that's the hilarious part, is like this noise profile is like so tight that like it's not going to show up on anything like that you're
Unless
posting.
some weirdo is like pinching and zooming on a photo.
Dude, by the time you upload it to like Facebook, the compression level they're going to put on it,
Oh yeah,
that noise is going to be
destroyed.
gone.
You're not pixel peeping anything with an uploaded picture.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to this next shot. And I think I saw Brad in chat. Yeah, there he is right there. This next shot is from Brad Carlisle Photo. And let me paste that link for you guys in chat there. I love this because it's Tales of Symphonia.
Tales of Symphonia, I can't believe it! It's 2020!
Yeah, I know. This is not the cosplay you expect in 2020. Or whenever this was shot. Probably 2019. Because, yeah, who knows? But that made me happy. God, I really should bring up my notes before I jump into things, but I don't because I'm dumb. I really like the warm color grade on this. I think it plays off well with the cosplayer. The reds and the browns in their cosplay, and then all the browns in the scenery. I kind of wish the yellows in the leaves in the upper left had been color graded to be red instead of this like yellowy green that they are right now. But other than that, I pretty much love the colors throughout the image. I think the shot is a little bit too wide, personally. Especially with the pose, I want the cosplayer to be a little bit more like on the left third of the image. And with the way it is right now, I just feel like there's so much space on the top and the left of the image that I just don't really care for. And I think cropping this image in makes it feel a little stronger. I also feel like this is a perfect candidate to add in some vignette for and focus the image. The like bottom left corner of this image is super bright, and my eye keeps on going to that portion of the image before I get to the cosplayer. So if you just darken that with like a vignette, I think that would just help this shot a ton. Other thought I had on this one is in terms of the pose. For the most part, I like it, except their head turn. I don't like the head turn for multiple reasons. One, I don't like that their head is now like straight onto the camera. I kind of lose their chin entirely because of that, and I think the lighting just in general would have been more beneficial if they had just been looking off to the right instead. That, and you always get like this weird like, I always try to think of it this way: when someone's looking off, think about it. When you're turning to look over, so they have their head turned and then they have their eyes looking. It's very unnatural for us to turn our head and then move our eyes all the way over to look to the side. What we're going to do, instead of turning, like, we'll turn our head and our eyes, but we will also turn our shoulders. Their shoulders are straight on with their body. There's really no turn of their shoulders with it. And that's what throws me off and kind of makes it feel like the pose that's like, oh, turn your head, look over this way, and not like the, oh, there's something over there that the cosplayer's looking at, and kind of pulls me out of the image pose wise. So just something to consider when you're posing people and having them look off is like, how are they, like, how would you look off? Like, just kind of like put yourself in that situation and then go like turn to look at something and see how your body responds to it. And that's more natural than how this ended up.
Not gonna lie, I feel like the pose for me is the biggest.
Yeah,
I don't quite understand it, to be honest. At first glance, when I first looked at the photo, like put them to me, I thought the cosplayer was gripping the sword, but not. So
yes.
I think the clenched fist is a little odd. It's like their left hand is very relaxed, the pose is relaxed, except for like the right arm. I almost wish they were standing. Like, honestly, you could have the same pose, but literally just them standing, and I could make a little more sense. I don't quite, I don't know. Yeah, because also like their face reads is like very tense, like almost kind of like, oh, they see like an enemy coming, but not quite that. Yeah, I don't know. The posing's a little confusing to me.
Yeah, there's just a few things that feel at odds in the posing.
Yeah,
Like if they were standing up, I think it would be like infinite.
Yeah, I mean it's the hands for me. Like the hands are throwing me off.
Yeah, it's weird because one hand feels super relaxed and the other is tense.
Yeah, I mean, like Sarah said, like I want them to be gripping the sword. Like it looks like they should be gripping the sword, but they're not.
Yeah. Like what?
And I feel like I feel like if your sword is a big part of the cosplay, or like if it's a big part of the character, you know, when you're posing like that, pose the sword too. Put it either you know, make a line with it along the body, or just so it doesn't look like they sat down and this, you know, for the character, I'm sure it's a very important sword, is just scraping against the ground and kind of like going at an awkward angle because they sat down and didn't pay attention to where the sword was going. So I would have put it either like, you know, going like creating a line along their leg and then maybe putting their hand like on the hilt and holding it. Or just something. Yeah, I mean, it's the posing that's doing it for me. And I mean, this is a very nitpicky thing, and it's something that every photographer does, and I'm guilty of it. And I always notice it after the fact. But there's a tree growing out of their head.
Yeah. As soon as you started saying
Oh
that,
my
I'm
God.
like, yep.
That's something I have been trying so hard to be more conscious of while I'm shooting. And luckily I shoot from like different angles of the same pose. So usually if I notice it, I'll have another shot of the same pose where it's not doing that, but always, pay attention to branches, trees, poles. You don't want anything that looks like it's growing from them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any other thoughts?
That's all I got.
Sarah, any other thoughts? Cool. Okay, so we've reached the halfway point of the critique already, guys.
Wow.
So that means we will be taking a short 5-minute break. And when we come back, we will be doing a Q&A. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to start thinking of questions that you want to ask us. Do not post them in chat now because I am not going to be at my computer. I will not be paying attention to them, what you're posting there. Save them for when we're back.
Go to bed. Holy shit.
3 a.m. Yeah, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Thanks, Hex, for hanging out. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna be back in 5 minutes. So think of those questions. Please think of those questions. They can be cosplay photography related. They can be cosplay related. They can be general life related. I don't know,
Please
man.
let me know what DIY recipes you have so I can come. Thank you.
They can be Animal Crossing related, I guess. Yeah. So anything you want to ask us, it's a chill time. So think about what you want to ask, and we will be back shortly. See you guys soon. We're back. We're back, guys.
I was catching bugs.
Bear went to go pour himself some tea, so right now we get empty chair Bear.
Back.
He made it. He made it.
He made it back. Where's
Almost.
Doggo?
Doggo's downstairs sleeping.
Oh man.
Barwin?
God damn it.
Warwin? Wait, what's his name?
Berwin.
Berwin. I was close. One of those vowels.
Wolfie knows when to do it.
It means bear friend in Dwarvish.
Aww. Can he come on stream?
Yeah, sure.
That's just whenever you have Sarah on a call with you, this is just like have an assumption that this is going to be expected of you.
Wait, weren't you on that call with us where literally the camera was just on Berwin sleeping? I think you were with us.
I don't know, man. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't remember things.
The camera, just sleeping in his bed. I'm like, man, that's the fucking life.
Yeah, I will get him before the stream is done.
I want to pet a dog so bad.
If there is a dog,
I mean,
we want to see it.
I'd say when all of this is over, come visit, but you don't want to come back to New York, so.
Yeah, fuck that. Sorry, upstate New York.
Wow.
I am not upstate. We are Western New York.
You're fucking upstate. It's fine.
Okay.
We are to the west of New York.
No, you're upstate.
I'm setting this 15-minute timer, guys. It's time to start pasting them questions into chat so that we can answer.
I'm not going to upstate New York. You'd have to pay me. Like, I am not.
You need to kidnap Sarah. It's the only way, apparently.
It would take a lot to get me up there. Nope.
Yeah, no, it's amusing. I was happy. I thought the Discord was going to accidentally swap video placement for me, so it's playing nice now. So, and Sarah, I don't think is lagging. Knock on wood. It will probably get laggy eventually, but everything's nice now.
Like, y'all are missing the fact I'm wearing makeup for the first time in like a month.
Ooh, this one's a good one from Maho Maddie, which is how do you all see the con scene changing given the situation over the coming year?
I think when all of this is over, people are going to go hard. they're going to be so con deprived and friend deprived and, you know, photography deprived that when cons start resuming and everybody feels safe, they're going to be packed. And
I was like, I don't think anything's
going to be a time.
Change. It's just going to be way more intense.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be too much of a change. I do think that like the first couple cons that are like going to be the first cons back from all this shit is going to be insanity. They're going to be packed. Everyone's going to be like, I'm assuming most cosplayer, well, not most, but a good chunk of cosplayers are going to spend a decent amount of time working on a quarantine cosplay. So there's going to be a bunch of new cosplays that they're going to want shoots of, and it's just going to be crazy for like a little bit. And then I think it will taper off and kind of return back to normal. At least that's my guess on things.
I do hope that maybe one thing that will change is, because I know MagFest does this already, is that they always have hand sanitizer everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping maybe other cons will start doing that too and taking like extra precautions to be sanitary, because we all know it's not, I mean, we do joke about con goers not showering, but that's literally not a joke. You can fucking smell it. So I don't think cons themselves will change. I just hope people's habits will change and have improved since. What? Just wash your fucking hands, you disgusting humans.
Yeah.
I do think that also there will be a period of time where like we'll just like enjoy cons more. Like I think especially for some of those who've gone to like a bunch of cons and there's almost a little bit of jadedness towards cons. Forcibly having them removed will probably make us like enjoy them so much more when we get back to them. So
I know I'm in that state of mind.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, all I know is I'm probably going to make more effort to get out to more cons because I miss everybody a lot. So
going cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be very interesting. I think the most interesting bit will be seeing what is the first con that is like the first con back. Right now, I feel like I see a lot of like Colossal Con East being considered like maybe that candidate. I don't know, man.
My optimistic side is hoping CCE will happen. My realistic side doesn't see cons safely happening until 2021. And what I mean by that is, like, Fanime is a good example. I straight up decided before they canceled that I just wasn't going to go. So even if it was happening, it just would be against my better judgment to go to a large event like that. And they're seeing relapses right now in other countries of COVID. So I think, you know, towards the end of the year, I think we're going to have to count on everyone to use their better judgment that even if an event is happening, it's probably not the best decision to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I know YetiCon is still hanging on, and they're still saying YetiCon's happening. And,
YetiCon's not happening.
And that's what I'm like. Just cancel it already, guys.
Colossal Con hasn't canceled yet either, and I'm just like.
I mean, okay, so let's say theoretically though, YetiCon and Colossal Con Ohio are still happening. You absolutely, in my opinion, should not go.
No,
it's just it would be so backwards. It wouldn't help anyone. Don't go.
Yeah,
I don't. It sucks to lose that kind of money if you can't get a refund or whatever. But like losing some money versus us having a long-term ability to leave our fucking house there's no comparison.
Yeah, I mean that's heartbreaking because like YetiCon, I love YetiCon. YetiCon is like it's my vacation con. I see tons of people that I only see once a year. I love it so much, but it's not worth it. And I mean, I like my IRL job, my 9 to 5. Like I work on the front lines. I see everything that is going on with this, and it's terrifying. Like it's legit terrifying, and people are doing what they should, and you know we can beat this and everything, but even if YetiCon was like, nope, it's still happening. As much as I love it,
Yeah. No,
I'm not going near that amount of people anytime
God, no.
soon.
No, that's almost what I like. It'll be curious to see the first one, like if the first con that doesn't cancel, like, you know, the first quote unquote like comeback con, if it happens too early, to see what the outcome of that is like. If
I'm hoping people will have more than one fucking brain cell, because this is no joke. Unless the WHO specifically says that it's okay to go to large social gatherings, I'm not gonna go.
Yeah.
I don't want to relapse. I don't want this to have a second wave. I don't want to be quarantined anymore.
Yeah, and I mean something Allie brought up in the chat. A lot of the people that go to YetiCon are from the US.
Yep.
And the borders closed except for essential.
Yeah.
So even if Yeti's like, yep, it's on, there's going to be hardly anybody there because everybody from the US cannot go.
Well, we can still say this to people who live in Canada. Don't go.
Yeah, don't go.
I mean, it sucks, because I still see people online saying, like, oh, well, if so-and-so con is still happening, I'm still going to go. Don't go. And I think people need to be more vocal about that. Like, you know, I literally, to my fanime group the other day, like, I was like, I hate to be a wet blanket on a Monday morning of all days, but, like, I was like, I'm not coming. It's just it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just not. And I think we have to make those decisions.
I think the thing that we have to all understand is no one wants this. Like, we don't enjoy this. We're making these decisions because we're trying to be smart. And I know, like, I think the hard part is lots of people, and this is maybe a little real, a lot of people that go to cons choose to go to cons when they shouldn't be going to cons, like for financial reasons or various other reasons. There's lots of, like, I don't know, like, cons bring a lot of people in that probably maybe shouldn't be trying to go to as many as they can, and lots of maybe dumb decisions are made at cons. But, like, let's be smart about this one thing. Like, please, as a community, just come together and be smart, please. For once, let's be smart.
And I mean, really, if I'm not going to be there, what's the point in going?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's going to be, yeah. I hope, like, even if a con happens, that the attendance is so bad that people wouldn't even go anyways.
Basically, what we're saying is, if a con is happening, but the WHO hasn't said that it's okay to be in a social situation, don't fucking go. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Stay at home means fucking stay at home.
Since I haven't seen any other questions come in from chat, which, by the way, chat, get on that shit.
Ask us anything. Literally talking about Animal Crossing.
So I'm gonna bring this up since it's relevant to our topic, which is, what about like, Anime Central has announced this, that they're planning on doing, like, an online con, that they're planning on doing some streaming stuff. We don't know what that means yet, but what do you guys think about that, and what would you like to see from an online con?
I mean, I know Arda is having, like, an online con as well. They're hosting, like, panels for, like, wig workshops, and they're even having a masquerade somehow. I don't really know how that works. I would not want to fucking organize that. But I think in terms of, like, trying to adapt to the current situation, I don't think it's a bad idea. Like, I think,
yeah,
it's hard because, like, I honestly, even though we're on Twitch right now, I don't watch a lot of Twitch. I don't watch a lot of live streamers. I get kind of bored halfway through, and it's weird because I also go to cons and I don't attend panels, so I feel like my outlook on it is a little different.
I've got this one really good channel that you should watch all the time that they go live. It's twitch.tv/Vontography. I think you've maybe have heard of them, but really good channel. You should definitely check it out every time they go live. Exactly. None of you all watch me when I play video games. I know it. Long
story short, I think it's a good idea. It's something I'm not interested in per se, because I don't even attend panels in real life. So, like,
yeah. Honestly, it could be a nice way to, like, revitalize panels in a way if you had, like, some quality things. I just logistically don't know how the hell you would do all this. Like,
I don't even want to think about it.
yeah, I think about organizing like this and how much of like an effort that is to do, and to try and essentially do something like this with like a bunch more people and constantly changing and just it's possible, it's doable, but it just seems like a whole logistical nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I just a bunch of photographers. Renee was part of a online summit that they put together. So I think it's like 30 different photographers, and they have a schedule each day. Renee just had hers yesterday, and I mean, it's a cool idea. I can't imagine what it was like to get 30 photographers together and have them record a tutorial and then put a schedule together.
I've watched a handful of those sessions too, and they are a very mixed bag in terms of quality.
Yes. But like I watched Renee's, and I might be a little biased, but like I was telling her that like it's not like a big production tutorial. There's not a lot of editing. It's not like on a set and everything, but like at least with hers and some of the other ones that I've watched, it feels like you're sitting on Google Hangouts with your friend and they're teaching you how to do stuff in Photoshop. And I told her, I was like, I think that's a connection a lot of people are just dying for right now.
This is gonna sound kind of weird, but like I feel like the hard thing with streaming is that is that you need, this sounds weird, but you need people who know how to stream. Like, not just because you can talk and you have a mic and a camera that you're a good, I mean, I don't fucking know how to stream. But you have to be engaging. Like, we literally have a screen that is like the wall between us. Even if panels in real life are, at least to me, they're kind of boring, I at least have the opportunity to interact with this person in real life. So that, like, that's part of the appeal. Whereas if I'm just watching someone on Twitch, like, that connection is totally lost. So I think they need to make sure that, like, the people who are streaming for, like, an online con, for example, or whatever, they need to be engaging. And if they don't have a good on-camera presence live, like, that's very hard to do. I know the first time, Andrew, when we did the stream, I wanted to piss my pants the entire time.
Dude, yeah, no, it's been such a learning curve. Like, it's kind of interesting because I've seen so many people pick up like online streaming or doing Twitch or whatever different streaming method over the course of this quarantine. And I think there's this like viewpoint around it that it's like, oh, well, I have a webcam, I have ability to like play a video game, like I'm gonna stream, and the specific skill level that it takes to do this like even half decently is like so like not a thing that you're used to. Like,
it's a very particular skill.
Yeah, but like
not
this format too, where we're talking amongst like at least we have two other live people here on this, is so much easier than if you're the only person. That is so different. You kind of have to learn how to just keep on talking about nothing. Until you have stuff to talk about, and then talking about that. And then especially when you don't have a lot of people chatting, that can be a difficulty to kind of keep like everything flowing and keep things interesting and fun. And frankly,
you have to be a natural conversationalist. Yeah. Like I was our friend Joe Schmo, he has his podcast now. And I asked him when he first started, I was like, how do you keep, like, I was like, I would never be able to do like that kind of podcast because I just wouldn't know how to keep carrying on a conversation. Because there are points when I'm listening, I'm like, wow, I would have no idea how to keep this going. It would just be like dead silence for like 30 minutes. But he's able to do it so naturally. And that is not a skill that everyone has. And I think there's this preconceived notion that it's so easy to get on stream and just talk your ear off. And it's just not. I mean, I struggle just trying to come up with things to say about a photo, even though I've seen it before the goddamn stream. You'd think I'd know what to say. I have no idea what to say sometimes. It's not easy.
Yeah. So point being is, I don't know what to expect from an online con.
Oh, there's Joe!
I don't know what I want from an online con. Yeah, no, it's FX Dandy. You color graded the webcam. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Go home. You are home. Never mind. Whatever. Get out of here.
Go home. Oh.
Go away.
Oh, I'm already home. Yeah, I know. I can apply LUTs in OBS, but that's a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about making like starting a YouTube channel and putting together like compositing tutorials or like just something fun to kill time and teach people things, but I think this stream is the most I've talked in the last month. So I think by the time I had a complete tutorial video that was interesting enough, the quarantine would probably be over.
Shut up!
Amazing. Okay. So we didn't get much questions from you guys, but we still managed to talk for the 15 minutes that we had set up for this time period. So yeah.
COVID-19 to be a hot discussion topic.
Who knew? Who knew?
Be smart, stay safe. If your friends are being stupid, fucking tell them they're being stupid. Streaming's not easy. Stop freaking out on the internet about it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see where online cons go, because it could be cool. It could be very lame. So we'll see. We shall see. Fix my headband. Did someone get? Oh, fix your bandwidth, not headband. I read that as headband because
no, headband.
I was like, really? What? No. And then of course someone's gonna do it now, but you know.
Oh my God, Mallow's still making dinner.
Mallow, you need to
Hurry up, dude.
Make a dinner in less than like 3 hours. Let's do this whole critique thing again. How about that?
What are photos? No,
what even is photography?
I literally have not opened up Photoshop once.
Wow. That
is because I am unmotivated and not driven, and I'm depressed because I'm in my fucking apartment all day doing fucking nothing, worrying about like people like Bear on the front line, buying fucking N95 masks for my friends because they don't have enough for their hospital. So, you know, it's a really fun time.
Does this work?
Yes. No, because your nose isn't covered, you noob.
Oh, fuck. There we go. We Gucci now?
Yeah, I had to reach out to people because we're running low on masks at work, and people are starting to hide them.
I told you, Bear, if you want me to go pick some up, I will.
I know. I had a lot of people on Instagram reach out, and a couple of them sent me masks that they made, that are really well made, and I actually love them.
But if you want N95, my hardware store does have them. So
I'll let you know.
Okay. Anyway,
let's go to this next photo. I don't know if anyone's still watching on the Facebook stream, but if you're watching on Facebook stream, go chill on over on Twitch if you can. I did not say that at all this stream yet, so there you go. Also, if you're enjoying things here, please consider subscribing, especially if you have Amazon Prime. I won't do the whole spiel right now, but you know it. You've probably heard it by now. So, yeah, think about that. Let's do some critiquing. This next photo is from Stucky Media. Sarah, do you want to start us off here?
Oh, yes. Ooh. I really like the choice of the blue lighting. I want to say this is Katsucon because I feel like I recognize that.
It does look like the trim. I don't know where it was taken, but that trim.
Because I feel like it's that rim on the gazebo level by the bathroom.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I love the blue lighting. I think it's a really nice contrast to the red for Bayonetta. But I wish they chopped out the lines in the wall because let me tell you, I've done that a million fucking times.
I don't think it was the date. The date it says it was taken was November 2019. So I don't think that's not Katsu. That's Yoma. Oh, he's in the chat. It is Yoma.
Oh.
I definitely know why you felt like it was Katsu though, because it does have that Katsu wall feel.
It's some generic white wall. I feel like you'll probably have more comments on the lighting. I don't really know, but I do like the blue color, and I like how it's filling the entire background. I feel like often when I see cosplay photographers using colored gels, it only lights up like 10% of the photo, but I like to see more of like the fill, kind of like what you see in like editorial magazines. So I do appreciate that. I kind of wish the color grading was taken like a little bit further. I mean, this is like a personal preference. I'm not very big on kind of like the clean editing style when it comes to artificial lighting. I don't know, it just feels too clean. I don't really know how to describe it. I just kind of wish more had been done.
I'll agree with that.
I think the pose is a little weak. I don't know if the space in which you were working was just like really crowded or whatever, but like, I mean, this game is over the top. So when I think of Bayonetta, I think of just crazy shit, and I feel like the pose here could have just been a lot more dynamic, or even just like doing different things with like their arms. I call it like voguing because that's what they would call it on freaking America's Next Top Model. Just creating like more interesting lines and shapes with their body. So even when you're in a confined space, you can still create like movement through the photo. Right now, it's just kind of, I don't know.
I mean, for me, like, the pose just isn't flattering to the costume or like the character.
Really
and I mean, like, I love the blue background. Like the cosplayer is gorgeous. For all intents and purposes, it's a good photo, but I don't think the pose is flattering. And the one thing that really threw me off, like I had to zoom in. If you look at the detail on the sides of the legs, there's like a stripe going down the legs. I thought when I first saw this, I thought they artificially colored the background and forgot to fill in that space. So I would have had.
That bothers me. I don't know what. Like, I don't know what the right wording is.
Are you talking about like the tan spot?
Yeah.
That's just the cosplay.
Yeah, and I figured that out when I zoomed in, but because she's not like turned or because the pose doesn't say like this is part of the cosplay, my eyes immediately thought like, oh, they forgot to fill in part of the background. So I would have posed them to kind of show off more of the detail and maybe flatter the cosplayer a little bit more.
Yeah. I think like even this, if you just had her like, because she's stepping one foot in front of the other, I think if you had that step just be a little further and like a little bit more across, and then have her kicking that hip off to the side even more, that would be like enough to add a decent amount of dynamics to it. Yeah. And then I actually really like her left hand. I think that's working very well, but the hand that's holding the gun just feels super awkward. Just this kind of like
so this
I'm kind of like, what are they doing?
Yeah, this is a nitpicky thing, but I can't stand when guns are pointing at people, like when they're pointing a weapon at themselves with no like purpose. Like, I mean, there's that one what's that one anime? The girl that sits on the toilet and puts the gun to her head, and like doing a pose like that, it makes sense. But if you're just doing like a pose and I can't think of the name right now, but I'll get back to you on it. It's a really fucked up scene.
Staying on a toilet with fucking guns.
But like, if they're just pointing a gun at themselves, it makes me uncomfortable.
I don't feel like I genuinely don't feel like it's pointing at her. Like, I feel like it's going across her. Like,
well, Joe said, I don't know if I'm right, but it looked like the gun was put there to hide a detail that potentially wasn't there, because that's how I'm reading it as a fan of Bayonetta.
I wouldn't know about that.
I mean, that could be true, but like, honestly, I feel like I would sacrifice part of my costume missing over a bad pose.
I don't know if you guys know how guns work, but she's not about to shoot her throat. She's not about to shoot herself at all. That gun is totally pointed like past her. Like, she's about to shoot in the air up there. This is less towards you, Baron, more towards chat.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like when guns are facing the direction of the person.
Yeah.
And I mean, it like I don't know, like it looks like this cosplay has like really dramatic like sleeves. I wish they would have done something to kind of like highlight the sleeves a little bit more.
The pose is just weak.
Yeah, I think it's just purely like it feel like the arm being uptight and then with the wrist being totally turned is very odd. But yeah,
she was a little uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. Feels stiff.
Yeah, I mean it's just like literally the only thing is just the pose. Like the pose is what's throwing me off.
totally. Okay, you guys, any other thoughts on this one before we move to the next shot?
Nope.
Cool. Okay, this next one is from Kaze Photography. And this one is a self shot. This is
I was like, wait a minute. Didn't we already critique this person?
I feel like we did, but my brain's terrible and I may have screwed that up.
Definitely did, but they
Then
shot it was the Tales of Symphonia, wasn't it?
No, that was oh no, that it was the I'm bad. Normally I'm supposed to not allow for multiple photos on this
no, we
from
definitely
people, but I
person.
screwed up. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry.
Yep, just kidding.
But we'll pretend like that didn't happen because I wouldn't make a mistake. Whoops. Shit. But this is a self-shot one, which I think is a very interesting thing to talk about in the current climate. So let's just pretend this was all on purpose and I included it because of that reason and not because I screwed up. Bear, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah. I feel like you gave me the composite heavy ones on purpose.
This is completely random. It's I do not assign any like order based on like who I think is best. It just happens that way.
Yeah, I mean it's a really cool shot. You know, I like the posing. I like the details that are in it. Like they're highlighting the details of the cosplay. Couple things that stand out. The light flares are kind of coming from nowhere. Like where the flare is coming from isn't matching up with a bright light.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you can zoom in on like the hairline in the back.
Sure thing, Bear. It's going to be delayed for you.
Hair is one of the most impossible things to mask out. If you get into composite work and you're a masochist and you want to be your own worst enemy, start doing hair.
Hair's terrible.
Along the back, you've got that kind of that halo around the hair, and that's very pronounced. So what I would have done is like the two parts on the. I'm pointing at my screen like you guys see me.
I do that too.
The two pieces of hair kind of towards the top and the back, I would have just erased those and maybe drew in some hair with a very small brush and just color matched the hair and kind of dropped the opacity a little bit and drew in some hair so you didn't have like a harsh line.
Mask out hair because it's the worst.
Yeah, so I would have just erased those and then drew in some hair. And when you have a hairline like this with a halo, a trick you can do is on the layer with the mask, have the mask selected and grab the smudge tool and set it to like a low pressure. And if you just nudge the mask in a little bit, that halo will disappear. So that'll.
Sorry, Bear. Go ahead.
I mean, that's something you can try. And like, I don't expect everybody to know this. Compositing is very hard. It takes a lot of time. There's still a lot I need to learn, and there's I don't claim to be a good composite artist, but it takes hours and hours of tutorials and practice and experimentation and self-hatred.
So
why I
I'm
don't-
gonna paste a link in chat here because I watched this earlier today and it was something I already knew about, but I figure like is maybe helpful for other people. That Photoshop summit that's happening right now. In one of today's like videos that came out, and it's I'll paste it in chat. It's number 7, which is advanced blend mode tricks. There is a section in that video that talks explicitly about how to deal with hair in terms of like masking in difficult situations like this.
Yeah, and I mean another trick like what I do, that was again it was beat into me by Renee through her tutorials and just her like teaching me one-on-one. When you're masking out hair, use a textured brush. So
Yes.
in Photoshop under the brushes, they got rid of them. You have to load them now, but they have the legacy brushes. There are there's dust brushes, there's cloud brushes, there's very textured brushes that have hard edges and it's not a soft round brush.
Yeah.
So masking hair out with one of those makes a load of difference and it makes it look a lot more natural. It's just it's more time consuming.
Coincidence.
But anytime you use like a soft round brush, you're always going to get that halo. And trying to get precise, like hair lines with a round hard brush just doesn't look right. So try using textured brushes when you're masking out hair. And don't be afraid to try drawing in your own hair. It takes some practice, but once you master it, you can hair lines and
absolutely. Coincidentally, Renee talks about that in her video in that Photoshop Summit as well. So if you're interested in learning more about that, check out that link I pasted in chat.
Yeah, those videos are only online for 48 hours.
Yeah,
and then they disappear.
So these ones explicitly are like the one that we're talking about right now is explicitly live for only I think like 10 more hours. So if you want to get on that, watch it like ASAP.
Yeah, and Renee has tutorials on Creative Live and rgg.edu that you can buy. They always have sales and everything, but I highly recommend them. She's a great teacher, and she, like I said, everything I know I learned from her, and they're good to have. And those you'll own, so you can always go back and watch them and practice. But yeah, check those out if you're interested in compositing.
Yeah, so I will paste the link for that one as well. So this is only up for a little bit more, but that's the compositing tricks or compositing tips and tricks part 1 and part 2 in that link that I just pasted if you guys are interested. Any other thoughts? Well, I don't think Bear was just going on this one. I'm like,
yeah,
wow.
Sorry,
no,
went on
you're
a
fine. You're fine.
rant.
You're fine. Totally,
It's like
totally
you're the
fine.
one who knows how to composite, not us.
Yeah, but try. Sorry, but when you're, Henry, if you're on, next time you do this and you cut it out and you see that halo, try grabbing the smudge tool and just make sure the mask is selected and just smudge it in a little bit, and you'll be amazed at how quick that halo goes away.
Oh my god, that's fucking genius. Oh.
Other things I'd say is that I think the subject here a little bit too bright compared to what I feel like it would be in the actual scene. So I'd turn down the brightness a little bit on yourself. And then I feel like the color temperature on the subject is just a bit too warm compared to the background.
Yes,
so I'd cool that down a little bit.
I was going to touch on that before I went on my rant and forgot all of my other points.
It's all good. Okay. Now, do we have any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next one?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
Brave soul.
Okay, so this next image is from Allison, and technically also Pyroflyer Rachel as well. Two of my good friends. Let me grab that link for you guys in chat before I jump into this one. Let's see there. Okay, and then I'll open up my notes. So yeah, this photo was taken by Rachel, but then directed by Allison, who's the cosplayer in the image, and then edited by Allison as well. So right off the bat, I really, really love the color to the lighting in this. Like the color transition in the highlights on like the armor is just absolutely lovely. That like orange in the highlights to blue, like on the leg armor, I just really, really like. Same with like the chest plate, like that, how the like some of the highlights are orange and some of those highlights are blue. It just, I really, really dig that. Super appealing. Really like it. I also really like the pose in this, that kind of mid step, walking towards the camera. Just feels super powerful in this example here. And I think it works really well. Also this shot has like so many leading lines, like the two weapons, like it's almost like a just entire radial of leading lines. We've got the legs leading up, we've got then following it out, we've got the two pieces of weaponry that lead to the subject, and then we've got lines from the building and the lines from like on the left from like the shadow and then that ledge there, all leading towards the subject. So there's just like so many leading lines, and I just really, really like that about this image. That said, compositionally, I think one of two things needs to happen with this shot. It either needs to be a bit wider so we get the feet fully in the image, we get the edge of the weapon
those
in the
feet
image.
are getting amputated.
Yeah. And then I think we also need a little bit more headroom as well. The head's coming real close to the edge of the frame there. Either that, or I think you could take that even tighter by cropping in a little bit. That said, if I had a choice, I would rather it be just a little bit wider. I think probably my least favorite part about this image is how blown out the background is on the left of the image. That whole section is just like pure white with no information in it, and that's super distracting to me. I don't know if there was information there in the image or if it was blown out like upon the photo being taken, but if you could recover it, I would really try and save some of the details in there, because it's just a big white blob. Like there's no details there at all. It's just entirely white. Which makes it not very interesting and kind of distracting, because it's like the brightest area in the image and it's just this huge section there. I would also, if it were me, this is a little bit more nitpicky, but the blown out area to the right of the image, that little triangle that's sneaking in on the far right there, I would also edit that out. I think that just kind of is just a little distracting as well, being one of the brightest spots on the image, and it's just all the way to the edge of the frame. And then I'm trying to think, did I miss any of my notes? Oh, I have one more thing, but it's super nitpicky, so I will stop and see what you guys have to say before I get on to my other super nitpicky thing.
I love this photo. You've pretty much touched on everything I had in my notes. The little triangle on the right, the left side being blown out is really distracting. But the photo itself, like, I love it. I love the colors.
The colors are so good.
Yeah, the colors are amazing. That was the first thing I noticed about it. I pulled it up and I was like, oh my god, I love these colors. Allison, I've wanted to work with her for a long time. Like, I've been following her for a while, but I don't think our paths have ever crossed. But yeah, I mean, it's a great
Don't do
photo.
it. Don't do it. She's terrible. Hate her.
The only other thing, and this is a nitpicky thing, I hate when the tips of things are cut off. So like the feet, like you said, I would make it maybe a little bit more headroom and make it a little bit wider so you get the whole cosplay in. But other than those nitpicky little things, like I love that photo and I love the colors.
Absolutely. Sarah, any thoughts on this one?
I feel like you said everything that I would have said.
Cool beans. Okay. Final nitpick thing for me then. Is...
Well, I have one nitpick.
Oh, go ahead then, Sarah.
Where I don't know, was this at C2E2?
This was at C2E2.
Okay. I don't know anything about C2E2 or the location, but I am kind of wondering if there was a different, like either Allison could have been shifted more to the right, so there wasn't that big like left blown out area. I usually do agree in that I do like leading lines, but I think in this case there are too many, in my opinion. Like you have the lines from the weapons, you have the lines from that overhead walkway, and then you have the lines from like that bridge or I don't know, whatever that is. I think it's a little too much for my liking. I would have liked, I don't know, maybe something that was a little more directional. Like if the right side had been cloned basically, so it was like a little more, I don't know, there's just too many lines for me personally. So I kind of wonder if she could have been shifted over to the right a little bit more. So there were...
That's a thought. Yeah, if you did one of those mirrored background effects,
you can easily do that with this photo.
Yeah, like, I think that would work pretty well with this shot.
I think that'd be way more dynamic. I think it doesn't help that it's blown out, but even if it wasn't blown out, and there was information there on the left, I think there's a lot of unnecessary background noise that would detract from Allison. But I think in this case, the background doesn't really work for me. Like I said, I don't know the conditions for C2E2 and how crowded it is, or if something to the right is literally just like a fucking parking lot. I don't know. But just based on what I'm seeing here, I think it could have been the framing could have been better. And again, the feet are cropped out. But I do love the colors. I think those are great. And Allison's expression is, as usual, great. Pose is great. But yeah, I think the background choices.
Yeah.
But I would try mirroring the right side to the left side. I think that could be...
Yeah, I think that could help it a lot. Yeah. It's one of those interesting things that Sarah, you said that like background choice where I'm thinking about it, knowing this location, and I'm just like, man, I don't know where I would have shot this if you were going for the same style shot. Unfortunately, C2E2 is pretty limited there. But my other nitpick here is if you kept everything the same and if you managed to recover some highlights, I think I would get rid of the like signs in the back left. So like those ones that are popping up and have like the vinyl like signs hanging. I think those are just kind of...
The signs just kill it.
Yeah.
Like even though like the background is super modern in terms of architecture, the geometric shapes play off of the armor really nicely. So you could even mirror the right side. The left side to the right side and just get rid of those flag posts, and you would have a lot of interesting geometric shapes that help play off of the costume. So I think duplicating either sides, like mirroring them, and then, but for the left, just deleting the thing that gives away the fact that it's 2020 or 2019.
Yeah, no, it's 2020.
2020, okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Mirroring is super easy, and this picture is set up perfectly. You literally could not be put in an easier scenario.
Yeah, Allison, if you have any questions on how to do that, hit me up. But like, it's going to be very easy to do it for
literally,
the shot.
All you're gonna do is gonna duplicate your base layer, flip it horizontally, mask out the right side, and then paint in part of the white where your hair is, because that won't flip all the way over. It's super easy.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the easiest like mirrored images you could possibly do. Like,
because your body is blocking the vantage point, so we don't even see the vantage point. So because that's where a lot of like the illusion photo is lost, is when you see the vantage point, you're like, oh, this is fucking weird.
Yeah.
You don't have that here, so you're already at an advantage. It's so easy. You're gonna be like, oh my god, why have I done this before? I do it a lot of my photos.
Yeah, I've done it more times than I care to admit.
Yeah, I don't want to. Anyway,
it happens. It happens. I mean,
it's hard at cons. You know,
it's a good solution for when in scenarios
for shitty con backgrounds exhibiting.
Yeah, but cool. Any other thoughts on this one? Okay, let's go on to the next one. This next shot is from another person chilling around in chat in FX Dandy.
Yeah, Skip.
Skip. We don't talk about Dutch angle photos here.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not realize this was Felix's photo until I clicked on it.
You're gonna have to take that Dutch angle and leave. I'm sorry. We don't do Dutch angles here.
Skip. Irrelevant.
If you guys got them Dutch angle emotes, I expect to see them in chat. Okay, Sarah, do you want to start us off on this one?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so first of all, like I said, I did not realize this was Phil's photo until I clicked on it in Flickr. I was like, oh, because usually I can recognize his editing style, like, right away. I really appreciate the movement in the shot. Like this is an example of, like, an action pose, but clearly the person was just, like, standing there. Because I know we mentioned earlier where the sword photo, this, I don't know what it was.
The Tales of Symphonia one?
No. Oh, yeah, that's right. No, the one with the fog.
Okay, yeah.
How we were kind of like, the sword grip is kind of weird, but if they had been, like, in action, I think it would have been, like, a little more believable. But this is a case where, like, if they had just been holding the sword just like that, but, like, their Violet's stupid coat action, like, wasn't flipping everywhere, it would have felt kind of, like, weird and awkward. So I appreciate the coat flip. It is a Dutch angle. That's unfortunate. Feeling.
I don't.
I think the glowing. Okay, this is gonna get mad fucking nitpicky because y'all who follow me know I'm fucking up some stupid 3 houses. Anyway, I appreciate the sword edit, but the sword isn't actually on fire. Okay, it's low. So, between the flames, little too much. Little too much for me.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, the sword does glow. Like, it glows up, and it gives the illusion that it is on fire. Like, the fandom does talk about how, like, the bones are on fire, and it's probably really hot to hold. But, like, you don't actually see any flame, so for me, that's a little too much. Anyway, something that I'm gonna get, I always get a little harsh with Felix, because I was like, he can take it. I think the skin editing is super nice, but I think it was maybe, like, I don't know if it's the lighting situation, because it looks like it was, like, in broad daylight, which is, like, literally the worst, and then you're in the shade. But I think some of the dimension on the cosplayer's face was lost a little bit. It feels a little flat. I kind of wish more dodging and burning was maybe done on the cosplayer, just, like, in general, because, like, to me, the sword sticks out more than the cosplayer, which is kind of sad. Felix, I'm a fake fan. Yeah, you are. Anyway, also, you literally have a big fucking 3 houses stand critiquing your photos, so it's probably the worst. I think it's beautiful. I think it's like if I'd gotten this back, I'd be really happy. I think the edit on the sword is particularly nice. A lot of photographers don't pay attention to this detail of this prop, so I really appreciate the time that Felix took to put into this.
I think it overall works pretty well. I kind of wish it was casting a bit more light onto her. Given
I think that's what's missing. Like, if it's the sword is literally glowing, there is a light source. There's a light source there, so it should be on.
Felix, you took a little bit of time to, like, have a cast color onto her. But I would have really paid attention to adding, like, brightening things up too, not just adding like a color glow, like adding, like, light as well. Like, the underside of her, like, gauntlet, like, that works really well. But otherwise, yeah. I know we rag on Dutch angles a lot here because it's fun. I don't think it's I think what my problem here is, like, I know it's kind of here to accentuate the movement, but like it just doesn't do it quite enough for me. Like, my biggest thing here is, like, if you're going to go the Dutch angle, like, half the reason you do a Dutch angle when someone has a sword is so that you can have, like, the entirety of the sword in the image without, like, having to crop it off at a weird point and still have, like, a nice frame. That's, like, half the time why I see Dutch angles when people have swords. And you have, like, the movement going here, but then the tip of the sword is still cut off, which really bothers me. That, and I just kind of think, like, I think if you had her looking forward, instead of looking towards the camera, looking forward, if you had her arm out just a bit further, I don't know why I'm making poses like you can actually see what the hell I'm doing. And then kind of shot this a little bit, instead of like straight onto her side, shot it at more of an angle. So she's not just like a flat, like right now she's like kind of flat to the plane of the camera, where I want her to be kind of turned slightly to the camera. So you got that Dutch angle, and then you've got kind of perspective falling off, and then the bokeh also would fall off with her as well. Like the cape would start falling into out of focus, which I think would just be really neat, and I think would just make everything work a little bit better, if that made sense at all.
I was gonna say, if this just wasn't tilted at all, this works fine as a full horizontal photo.
I think
no judging.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases, like, if you're gonna go this route, go hard and make sure that you go hard. Any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
Well, I mean, you guys touched on everything. I mean, the only thing I would say is, I mean, you've got motion
We're
in the
so
photo.
far
So
away. Sick.
okay.
I noticed you've been like progressively like moving back.
It's been a long day.
Sorry, guys. I moved my my window also towards my camera, so it doesn't look like I'm not talking to you. Anyway.
So you've got
Hi, Andrew.
motion. So it kind of looks like she's doing a spin, and she's bringing the sword around the front of her. So like the flames are nicely done.
Are you social distancing?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But again, we are virtually socially distancing.
Yes. I can't go any further because this is as far as my headphones will go.
So if the sword's moving towards the front, again, this goes back to what would it do in real life? So you've got the flames going the right way. So if she's swinging the sword towards the front, the flames are going to be going towards the back. But the sparks also have to follow that line. If she's swinging the sword around, the sparks aren't going to fly off faster than she's swinging to go in the opposite direction of the flames. So I mean, if you would
learn something new about compositing like every time, I swear to God.
So like the sparks are good. You could have used the same sparks if you would have just flipped them so that the sparks were going in the same direction of the flame to give it a more believable motion of her swinging it around. I mean, this photo would have been perfect. Aside from I hate Dutch angles, but that's a personal.
I did have one other thought that was just purely on a color grade thing. Is I feel like her skin is just a hair too magenta-y. I would pull a little magentas out of the skin color. Point in case, I'll screen share here for you guys, and I'll sample from her face. Like, that's pretty magenta-y in the skin tones. I would just make them a little bit more red and less purple. Yeah. I think that about settles that for this photo. Let's move on to the next one. This one is from Sean Corbin Media. Bear, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. First, I want to start off with Sean is an awesome guy. He's always very supportive. he's another photographer I've seen kind of grow. Like from the time I started following him until now, his progression has been pretty fun to watch. Um, I like this photo. The cosplayer is great. I mean, as soon as I saw it, I knew it was John Wick. Like,
Oh, totally.
great photo. Um, I mean, the only thing really is, I mean, the pink and blue two tone that's kind of a thing now. It's a popular thing to do now. I don't hate it, but I mean, and this is a personal preference. I like it better when there's a gradient, a little bit more of a gradient in between the pink and the blue, instead of a harsh line between them. Um, so, I mean, if you would have shot this with maybe a little bit of a softer light, just so you kind of get that smooth transition from pink to blue. Um, I also don't think the colors fit the character. Um, but that's a nitpicky personal thing. But other than that, I mean, it's a great shot. It's a great portrait. I maybe would have cleaned up the suit a little bit. It looks like there's a hair on the right hand side by the shoulder.
Maddie just said that in chat as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I would have just cleaned that up a little bit. But I mean, yeah. Other than that, I mean, the poses good. I mean, it's your standard portrait shot.
Yeah, it works well for the character. Like,
it works well for the
right.
character. The only, like I said, the only thing about the picture that I don't think works with the character is the color choice of the two-tone light split.
Yeah, I think that was like my biggest thing when I was looking at this photo, is like maybe a bit overdone, but like I feel like this is asking so hard for a blue orange color grade.
Yeah.
And like the kind of vapor wavy blue and pink kind of cyberpunk feel, like, doesn't really resonate with me when I think of John Wick. Like that feels like, I mean, there's a certain amount of grunge that can go with like cyberpunk stuff, but like it feels kind of like energetic and neon, and that's not what I think of when it comes to John Wick. I tend to think of like darker colors. Oh man. And then there's Maho Maddie that came into chat and then posted like specifically a scene where it's like pink and purple. So it's like, well, shit, I don't know what I'm talking about, I guess. But that said, even with all those things considered, I do think that you overexposed the colors. Like, just the blue just feels too bright to me. Feels just a little off, especially like how it's hitting those highlights. It makes me feel like there was some weird thing that was going on in post that kind of like maybe the color was accentuated or adjusted weirdly that kind of clipped it in a weird way. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Allison posted one.
Yeah.
That they're doing the same, but that's, I mean, they're using kind of like an orange and a blue. That makes more sense to me for John Wick. Like if those colors were orange and blue, and like you said, not quite as in your face. If it was more of a subtle orange and blue color split, I would have liked it.
There is this image though, which is kind of ridiculous, but I'll wait till you guys can see that on stream. You're probably like, which one? Okay, wait. But yeah, no, I still don't feel like that just is not what I think of when I think of John Wick, and maybe that's a me problem.
I mean, and that's, I mean, it's the same for me, but again, that might just be us.
Yeah.
But I mean, all in all, I love the picture. Sean's a great guy. Good standard portrait.
Okay, let us move on to the final image of the critique. This one is from Maho Maddie, who I know has been hanging out in chat with us. I love it when the photographers who submit are hanging out with us. It just makes things so much more fun. Let me grab the link for you guys before I jump into that. Well, there you guys go. Let me pull it up on the screen and bring up my notes so I know what the hell I am talking about. Okay. So I'm a really big fan of these kind of like tall compositions where the cosplayers, or any subject for that matter, are in the like lower third.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for this kind of composition.
If anything, I honestly wish this framing was a little taller. Right now, like I want the heads of the cosplayers to be on the like lower third line, and they're a little bit above it. I like wish there was just a teeny bit more above the image, so that it really is that kind of tall subject on the lower third image. I'm just a big fan of that style. So, that said, I still think this is well done in this.
Oh my god, it's fucking Jess! I did not realize that.
Yeah, that's Jess on the right there.
Oh my god, I fucking god.
I also
Holy
really dig the red in the on the cosplayer on the left. Like that red just really pops. I like kind of that almost like burgundy color it's getting into. It just has like a great depth to it that I really enjoy. I kind of wish the color grading had played off that red a little bit, because I just enjoy that red so much, and I feel like kind of the purples in the frame in the terms of the color grade in the shadows doesn't seem like it's anywhere on the cosplayers. And I would have loved to see those reds.
I'm about to be an annoying Fire Emblem person, I was sad that the reds were not played up in this photo.
You can be an annoying Fire Emblem in just a bit. I'm going to talk just a little bit without knowing pretty much anything about Fire Emblem. I didn't even know this was a Fire Emblem photo when we started
You just look at friggin' Edelgard's outfit and you're like, this is red as fuck.
So a couple nitpicky things here. It's always hard in these situations, but I really am not a fan of how the lighting is falling on the cosplayer on the left. That shadow that's coming from her like the horns that's going across and casting that shadow on her face over her eyes is just super hard and kind of unflattering. I honestly would have moved, how I would have solved this is I would have moved the cosplayer on camera right a little bit forward, so she was casting a shadow over the cosplayer on camera left, so that way you don't have to worry about that hard shadow. She'll be in shadows based off of the cosplayer. So that's how I would have solved it for this situation. That said, it's hard with the hard light. I think the biggest thing here is if you're going to own the hard light, I try to have my cosplayer's face kind of pointing towards the hard light, so it's falling nicely on them. It's not creating hard lights across their face. It's the hard light shadows are going with their face, and I think that tends to work a lot better. But that said, I would have probably tried to put her into the other cosplayer's shadow. I also wish we could see the cosplayer on camera left's arms. Like they're just kind of hiding under the cape there, and we kind of lose what's going on with her body. And I wish we had a little bit more of a dynamic pose there. Sarah, I'm sure you can get more into that in a little bit.
I was gonna say that cape is fucking huge.
Yeah, the cape.
And unless you literally have like the arms like in front of you, it's pretty hard to have your.
The cape is it's gorgeous, by the way. Like that cape looks beautiful.
But no, that's kind of just how. She's very regal, so it's kind of like. Do you want to be in character, or do you want to do what's real?
The other thing that took me a little bit of looking at this image, because I didn't realize it, the way that this has been color graded and kind of like the shadows lifted in this weird spot, the space between the two cosplayers, I kind of like lost the edge of where the cosplayer on camera right was. That gap between them two, just like it looks like it's part of the cosplayer on camera right, and it took me a while of looking at it to realize, oh no, that's a gap, that's the background. Like I was reading it as part of the cosplayer. Like, is her leg up weird like that? Oh no,
I totally thought it was Jess's leg.
Yeah, I thought it was her leg, and then I was like, no, that's nope. I was just reading that wrong, and I think there's ways to solve that. The thing that I want to see done with this image, if you really, really hate yourself, is to Photoshop out all the bars on the windows.
Yeah.
Because only insane people would do that.
My only
And it would be
suggestion for the
beautiful.
background is just to mirror the right, so the bars
Yeah.
on the left.
Yeah,
I've done that for a lot.
either
of
that or just that one vertical one in the very left side, cropping that one out. Maho Maddie, I may have done that in a shot very recently. That was also Fire Emblem. Yeah. Okay, Sarah, go ahead. I'm sure you have Fire Emblem feelings to talk about with this shot.
No, I mean, my only comment was about the window bars, just like what I just said, mirroring the right to the left. It's hard because, like, you know, the color scheme for Edelgard, the left character or the left cosplayers. Wow. Her costume is it's very prominent, and so I think in her design overall is very intimidating. So I think in this case, I feel like her presence is being downplayed a little bit, but that's just me personally, just based on how I've done some Edelgard photos in the past. It's such a beautiful red color. Like it's weird because like I'm not a big fan of like warm tones in particular, but I think the tone of like Edelgard's design is really beautiful and is really nice to play off of. So I kind of wish it popped a little more, especially because it feels like it's a little blended with the background with like the orange tones of like the topiary bush. That being said, though, I think for a wide shot, I think the details of all these cosplays were caught beautifully.
Yes,
like,
I'd agree.
That is something I really struggle with wide shots, and why I usually shy away from them, because I like capturing the details of these costumes that people spend stupid amounts of hours and money on. So I think that's really. And as for the cape, dude, unavoidable.
Yeah.
That's all I could say.
Bear, any thoughts on this one?
Me and Sarah had like same brain on this one. That the pole or the window thing like on the left side is kind of distracting me, and like I love Edelgard. Sorry, Sarah. And like time skip Edelgard, and like that dress and that red is so powerful.
Yeah.
And like the color grading is great, but for that character, like I want that red to pop. I want that power to come through in the dress and in the character with that that vibrant, powerful red. But other than that, like yeah, I love. I mean, you guys have seen my stuff. I love environmental stuff, so I love the wide shots with lots of scenery and like Andrew said, I like the characters in like the bottom third. I do agree with them. I wish they were just slightly a little bit more in the lower third, but other than that, it's a great shot. But yeah, me and Sarah, same brain on that one.
Awesome. Okay, I think that will do it on that photo, and that means we have wrapped up every image in this critique. Huge thank you to Bear for joining us in this episode. Thank you so much for joining us,
Yeah,
dude.
anytime. This was fun.
Yeah, glad
Those
you were
of
able to make it.
That know me probably know this is the most I've talked in the last like year. So
Yeah.
Stop.
I'm really glad that you were able to make it. I know you had a busy schedule and you had a ton of places you were trying to be, but you carved out this little bit of time to stay at home and be with us. We really
for
appreciate
you guys anytime.
And thank you all for chilling at home with us and hanging out. I appreciate all you guys watching along with us. It means a lot to me that you guys would hang out with us. Especially because there's more options than ever to watch, and there's everyone streaming right now. So choosing to hang out with us means a lot to me. It really, really does. So Bear, where can people find you and keep up with your work?
I am Bear Photo Buffalo on Instagram, bearphotobuffalo.com, Bear Photo Buffalo on Facebook, and then Bear Photo BFLO on Twitter.
Was that a Twitter length thing?
Yep.
Damn it all, Twitter.
Yep, I almost had it the same across the board, and then Twitter came and fucked it up.
Sarah, how about you? Where can people find you?
Well, when I'm not in quarantine, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Honestly, I've not been posting a lot. I've been avoiding social media.
Good call. Good call. Not a bad idea.
If you see me posting on Twitter, it's because I'm posting directly from my Switch, or I literally post a photo and then abruptly leave the app. So,
hey, that's probably healthy right now. It's probably a good decision.
Not on social media a lot, but you can reach me there. I do check in occasionally, but right now I'm kind of not on it at all. So.
Hey guys, we just hit 7,000 views on this Twitch channel, so thank you. That's awesome. I just saw that just turned over, so that's awesome. If you want to find me, I am Vontography on Facebook, Vontog on Instagram, and then obviously Vontography here on Twitch. I'm trying to stream more since, I'm home, I'm here. I'm trying to do 2 streams a week, but for sure there will be streams every Tuesday. I don't know what's going to be next Tuesday, but there will be a stream. It'll probably be around 7 p.m. unless I have problems with things. Hopefully Discord continues to play nice if we're going to do another multi-person stream and I don't have to fix a ton of stuff, but who knows there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Especially those of you guys who have been critiquing along with us, or those of you who submitted photos, because we couldn't do a heck of a lot without your submissions. Speaking on that, we will be changing up the formula sometime here in the near future. I think we're going to do one more critique before we change that up. That said, if you have ideas for things you'd like to see us do with this stream, please let me know. Just shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. I have my DMs open and I'm looking at them. So, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, I am looking at DMs. I'm just not active.
Cool. Yeah, if you've been enjoying the stream, please consider subscribing or donating if you have the means. Right now, we're trying to work up to getting some sub badges on the channel. But yeah, if you have the means to do that, we'd really appreciate it, especially if you have Amazon Prime. That means you have Twitch Prime, which gives you 1 free sub per month to give to whichever streamer that you would like. And if you haven't used that Twitch Prime sub already somewhere else, we'd love it if you could use it here. That said, it's not expected by any means, but if you have the ability to right now, which we definitely understand, that ability has been squashed a little bit because of the current situation. If you can't do that, that's totally cool. All I ask is if you're enjoying things and you can't sub or donate or do anything like that, just share it with a friend. Just let someone know. Don't post do post about it, do share, but tell someone about it, actually message them, actually tell them about it, not just Facebook, hey, this is a thing, because that honestly doesn't, we all know how social media is these days. Half the time that you post, you feel like you're just shouting into the void, and that's not very helpful. So if you think someone would like it, just tell them about it in person. Well, not in person, but you know what I'm saying. Tell them directly.
You're not going to your friend's house. That is not social distancing.
Stay the fuck at home.
Fuck home.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna do it here for us tonight. I'm gonna see who is on right now that we can raid over to.
Yeah, from somebody in healthcare who's on the front lines. Stay the fuck home.
Yes. Listen to the man with the beautiful long red hair.
It's pink.
Okay. Well,
it's hot pink.
On my camera, it does not look that pink, but I like it. I like it more knowing that it is pink because, dude, when I had hair, I always wanted to dye it pink, but I just never my hair was never going to do that. It just was not that.
Yeah, I wanted to dye it pink for a while, and I mean, why the fuck not? Now is the time. Why the fuck not?
Okay, we're gonna raid you over to one of my favorite chill streamers in Sunflows. He's playing some Minecraft right now. He's got lovely dulcet tones that'll just be smoothing and just make you relax. He's also just a lovely individual and has kind of built a really cool and supportive community. So I'm gonna raid you over to him. If you have Vontog love emotes, please spam them in chat when you're over there. I love you guys.
Oh, the one of me reading fucking yaoi.
Or do that one, I guess. You guys all have a great night, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good one. Night. Bye.